The NFL playoffs continues.
I can only imagine the pressure that he must feel.
All that matters is surviving and advancing.
It all starts every morning at 6 Eastern with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. And it continues all day right here on ESPN Radio. The Dominique Foxworth Show.
Sean Payton interviewing with the Houston Texans. It just hit me in that moment when I saw that. It's like, no, Sean Payton these teams aren't interviewing him. He's interviewing teams. And he's going around to see who's going to pay him the most and give him the most power. I mean, that's the only reason to go to Houston, because you can get a ton of money and the entire organization will work for you.
Check out the Dominique Foxworth Show anywhere you get your podcast. This is SportsCenter.
All right, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome in. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, and we are off and rolling here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, Doe?
I'm in a great mood today for when it's beautiful outside, and I was able to kind of get out on the golf course a little bit ago today.
What? Are you golfing on the clock?
I actually was golfing on the clock. I admit it.
Was it a business meeting?
Actually, it was.
There you go.
To be fair, it didn't start out that way. I to be honest, I was kind of like a little like, oh, do I let the bosses know? Even though my one boss, he's cool with it. I know he's kind of golfed from time to time, so I have dirt on him too, as we're just talking about our laundry over the air, right? But we had to go and we had to walk. That was the only problem. But I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you got the notification on your watch, but I closed my exercise ring today, so it's for my health.
Good job.
The bosses want me to be around a while, make that insurance, a little less likely to have to use it. Then let me go walk 9 every once in a while on a beautiful day in January like this.
Hey, man, I was actually talking to my wife about this, and she said I just jinxed us. I was like, hey, January, it's like been mild. Hasn't been bad. We had the Arctic blast around Christmas, but, I mean, it's been pretty solid in 2023. And she said, you jinxed this. We're going to have a blizzard any day now. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can get through this winter and get to the spring with only that Arctic blast.
Well, apparently we're supposed to get some nice little thunderstorms coming up here.
I'll take thunderstorms. Tonight. I'll take thunderstorms over snow any day.
The wind's picking up. I see some clouds kind of rolling in behind me. Oh man, I just checked the weather app. Let's see, I got a bunch of little notifications. Oh, severe thunderstorm watch, special weather statement, severe storm risk. Yeah. I'll never forget when I was the weekend, my wife and I, when we got engaged, we were in Pensacola, and we, the story, we stayed there during a hurricane because we thought, well, it was supposed to be a tropical storm, so we'll just tough out a few days. And then once the storm comes and goes, it's beautiful the back half of the week, we'll just tough it out, play cards, drink inside, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And then when the hurricane shifted overnight, the eye of the hurricane went over us. But I'll never forget the night that my phone is just going off like crazy. Have you ever had when an Amber Alert goes off?
Yes.
Well, that's what happened with my phone because I forgot to turn it on silent, and it was like 85 different weather notifications. We were having a tornado warning, a hurricane warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, a flash flood warning. I mean, I've never seen it was the most I was like, this is like what's that movie, the Day After Tomorrow? What's that one with all the stories? Look at me quoting movies, and
wow,
it's a big
of
day.
all movies for you to know.
So there it is. What did it say? Ryan Strong said 36 in a snowstorm tomorrow, or snow tomorrow.
That's cool. I can deal with that. Just not a blizzard where you actually got to go out there and shovel the snow and put down salt and all that type of stuff and take 10 days to get to work, and you got to go grocery shopping because you're going to be hunkered down for a couple of days. A little bit of snow, not a problem, but a big snowstorm, hopefully we don't get any more of those.
Yeah. So, when you walk outside, it's cold, it slaps you in the face. And that's a good transition to what you brought something to my attention before. I've never heard of this. So, by the way, stick to sports. I don't know if this is sports or not. Apparently, this Dana White thing. For one, Dana White, I mean, this is not good PR for him at all, obviously. I'm not making a joke about this. I think I've never seen a dude get caught slapping his wife on video and then just go to a press conference a week later, say, yeah, my bad, I screwed up, and everyone will think of this when they look at me moving forward. And then he goes on to continue making billions, and there was just no punishment at hand and whatever. Never seen anything like that before. It's pretty unreal, to be quite honest with you. But he, ironically enough, runs some kind of slap league. Am I correct in saying
Yeah,
this? What were you talking about
It's
before?
called Power Slap. It comes on TBS. I think it just started this week. So the press conference, he was talking about it. So it comes on Wednesday nights on TBS. And it just blew up on social media last night. Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills, he was watching it and just chiming in and giving his perspective of everything. And I wish we could play the audio, but I mean, FCC, you know, those guys. But I just been looking at these people literally slap each other in the face. Like, you go, I go, you go, I go. And like this one guy, his face is so swollen. I don't know how they're allowing him to continue in the sport, or if this is a sport or not, but like they're saying like this is the evolution of sports and this is the new way of sports. Like this is something we would see on the Ocho on ESPN. Everybody knows the movie Dodgeball, the Ocho. This is something that you would see on the Ocho. Dudes are literally slapping each other left and right. It's a Power Slap, Road to the Title. Episode 1 just aired on TBS last night.
Like it's some kind of like reality type show, or it's an actual league?
Yes.
Like promos will run. Maybe do they do radio? Maybe we can add it to tune in tomorrow night for Slap League on 1410 ESPN Radio. So I mean,
back and forth.
I know what you're trying to implement, but people listen to the car like, what the hell is happening right now? But yes, you know, Shaw says slapping someone is not a sport. That's an activity. I mean, my goodness, you know the name Chris Nowinski.
I'm not familiar.
So I'm a wrestling fan. He used to be a wrestler back in the day. I think he either won Tough Enough. It was an MTV reality type game show where the winner would get a WWE contract and all this. But now he is a Harvard, you know, he's Harvard educated, you know, and he has been very outspoken about the NFL's handling of concussions. And as outraged as he has been about the handling of concussions in the NFL, he's even more disgusted by this slap league or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, he is just absolutely, I mean, talking about how sad this is. And again, he's the co-founder and president of the Concussion Legacy Foundation. And it's just, you know, to see how just, so this is the tweet. He says, "This is so sad. Note the fencing posture with the first brain injury. He may never be the same. Dana White should be ashamed. He also attacked TBS Network. By the way, they just took it off. Now, TBS Network tried to use Dana White, you know, slapping his wife, but TBS was also getting ripped before this because they were airing this, talking about how, and again, as I'm reading this, a lot of complaints too, because kids see this and then at school, they just literally just sit there. Never mind. You remember years ago when we were I won't name the school, we were there for a function. We were helping out with the graduation. Kev and I were, they had asked the radio stations to come down, and Kev and I are down there. Like Kev's, you know, going to DJ this event for one of our local high schools around here. And I was the sales rep, so I'm down there, and Kev and I are talking, and all of a sudden we look over, and this kid just slapped the you-know-what out of the kid across from him. His glasses came flying over towards me and Kev. The kid just casually gets up, picks up, puts his glasses on, and goes and sit back down. They go on to eating lunch. I'm like, what in the blue hell just happened right there? Like, that was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen.
Maybe he's part of the competition.
I mean, but it's not the kid that did the slapping that is part of the competition. It's the dude that took the slap, just put his glasses back on, and went on to eating his mashed potatoes.
Like nothing happened.
Good for him.
Took it like a champ.
So how many of our listeners are familiar with this? I mean, again, Dennis Snyder says points are awarded per snot bubble and extra points from how many teeth are knocked out. My thing is like people had to, at TBS and some of these networks, had to watch this and sign off on it and think it was a good idea. I mean, you have parents who are, they're skeptical about letting their kids play football.
Right.
And then you have networks putting this type of stuff on. Like, I'm not morally outraged. I don't get outraged by much. I'm not outraged by this, but I'm just surprised at how something this dumb is getting this kind of attention. Like, people made fun of cornhole, how much, the fact that ESPN puts national cornhole competitions on TV. I'm like, that bothers you, but this stuff is everyone gets a kick out of? My goodness.
So before the break, before we came on the air, rather, I was telling you about probably like, I want to say in like 05, Hot 97 in New York, they had Smack Fest. And, you signed your waiver. Like, had regular listeners signing up to be a part of Slapfest. And obviously, they signed a waiver to say they're going to be a part of this. And they're not going to sue the radio station for X amount of injuries that may occur. Woman participated. She went deaf in one of her ears and sued the radio station, even though she signed the waiver form. She still was awarded money, even though she signed the waiver form. So with this competition, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the long run. But the thing about it is these people look like they've been here before. So maybe this is just like, maybe there are other slap leagues and this is the one that's just being brought to prominence because Dana White's involved and it was on TBS and it's just making waves right now because like people have backstories and like there is one guy like I'm about to get famous off of being in a part of a slap league and then he just smacked the bleep out of somebody, dude. Like put them on the ground. Like it is crazy, man. I can't front. I'm intrigued.
Well, it does say that the sport was first popularized 3 years ago in Eastern Europe with the series of viral videos starring a 370-pound Russian sensation named Vasily Komodisky. And I'm probably butchered the last name, but that's as good as I could do. Now, Komodisky was known as Dumpling. Imagine losing to a guy named Dumpling. Hey, who you facing this weekend? Dumpling.
Dumpling.
You lost to Dumpling. Now, apparently, Dumpling is known for squashing watermelons and flipping tractor tires. And this dude's just open hand slapping the you-know-what out of people.
Yeah, man. And females are involved, too. And they got weight classes as well. So, you're not going to go up against a 300-pounder and if you only weigh 150 pounds or something like that. But, like, these people are getting knocked on their earth.
Yeah, and Dana White, again, facing all the backlash for it. They said he should have to step in and face one of these. Dumpling. How about that?
I think that would be fair. Let Dumpling get 2 slaps.
My goodness. Forrest said it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I mean, again, it's one thing, there's a lot of things that go viral online, but the fact that TBS network, like TBS, was going to air this league. And now, again, money talks. Dana White was pumping a lot of money into this, but there had to have been enough data to support that, hey, this was going to work on TV or something. I mean, again, we're dumb. We'll watch this type of stuff, right? Like,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's crazy about it. David M on YouTube goes, I watched it last night. It's wild. Slap fighting blew up on YouTube over the last couple of years. I mean, there's a lot of things that blew up on YouTube over the last couple of years, but I don't know if this is the one. It's just, yeah. Forrest said, I promise this started with a hold my beer moment.
I mean, what's next? I mean, like we got slapping people on TV and people are making money off it and people are watching. I don't know if you remember this. It was a couple years ago, and forgive my language that I'm about to use for this. They were calling it bum fights. Obviously, homeless people fighting, and it was going crazy on YouTube. Like, is that next? Is that what's about to be next?
Were they being hold on? Were the homeless people being?
No,
were they being forced, or were like?
Yes, they would. Like, people would roll up to a group of homeless people and say, "Hey, here's X amount of dollars, fight," and they would fight, and they was like bum fights.
And that,
and it was big on YouTube until YouTube was like, "Man, we got to take some of these things down."
And YouTube don't have a whole lot of standards.
Exactly.
So the fact that they
even YouTube took it down.
So, Doug Morgan says, next up, junk kicks. And I'm pretty sure that's probably a thing too.
Probably.
There's probably, Forrest says there truly is a pillow fight league.
Yes, I've seen that.
Let's see. Steve says, it took me one slap to change the station. Josh Maloney goes, I think that's where Kimbo got started.
Kimbo Slice got started in those backyard brawl fights. I know that.
Because that's how he got invited to that. Dana White also had that show, and it was that UFC show that like it was a competition to become a fighter or something. And I remember I watched that episode when he first debuted. He was raw when he came in, but my goodness, just that pure strength and just that psychotic look in his eye. Good for him. But but I know what the YouTube videos you're talking about. Yeah, those went viral. Yeah, of just him winning these backyard fights, like just and everyone circled around him and just I'm not a fighter.
Man,
I'm not a fighter. It couldn't go down for me.
How much would it take for somebody to get involved in this power slap?
How much?
Yeah.
None. There's no way. Phil says bum fights. Kev with a throwback reference. Bum fights crew. Kenner, you weren't very cool back in the day. If you didn't know of BFK,
man, it was insane. And it's just like one of those things that just like now, like obviously I done looked at a couple of these power slap situations on my Twitter, and now my algorithm is all slaps.
You just see
just slaps every single time. Normally it's tennis shoes and what's going on in sports. Now it's just strictly people slapping each other. Crazy.
Goodness. Big Bengals playoff game this week, and we're talking slap league. But I mean, my goodness. Let's see. David Shaw says there's no amount unless it was Shaw versus Kinner.
Big bag.
Shaw, you're like you're like 5 times my size. I think we know who would win that.
Money goes to charity.
See, I talk a lot of smack. I've never once pretended to be a fighter. That's the one thing I know on radio. Look, I like radio because you could sound 5, like you could sound like 6'5" and taller. But until I actually go out in these remotes, and you know how many times people come up to me and say, "You're a lot shorter than I thought." It's because I talk a lot of smack. It's amazing how when you go out, you're like, "Oh, I thought someone would be a little taller." Who kind of? Let's see. Back to this. Randy says, Randy Bertholf on YouTube goes, "I've seen a lot of these videos on Facebook, and it's something you just can't help but watch."
Yeah.
Just like the guys behind the show, Jackass, we've had a morbid fascination with people injuring themselves. You know, one of my favorite interviews I ever did was Steve-O. And like Steve-O is just the most down-to-earth, like good dude. Like he came in, they told me we had 10 minutes. He stayed for about a half hour. 45 minutes was the total interview, but and like he just was, all the crazy stuff we've seen it on the shows.
Yeah.
But yes, he said the ultimate drug, and he said he did a lot of drugs, but he said the ultimate drug was the attention. Because you could talk about all that's the one thing he told me was of all the drugs out there that he took, he said there was no drug that can match attention. And that was what he got, blowing himself up, all the stuff that he did, the adrenaline rush he got. There was no drug that can match that adrenaline rush he got when he did stuff like that, and the reaction it got from people. Then when he found out that he can make millions off of it, that's like when the teacher says, "Hey, don't pay any attention to that kid, because when you pay attention to him, that's what he wants." And you're gonna keep doing it. That's what Steve-O was, and that's what he made a living off of it. But that's basically what this is. Someone, that's the problem with YouTube and everything else. You give dumb stuff like this attention, and then it takes off.
But he's right. He's right. It's like one of those, like, it's almost like a car accident. You look because, like, you just can't help but to look. Like, because you look at it, you first say, "What is this?" And then you realize what's going on. And then you watch another one, and another one. All right. Oh, by the way, phone lines are open, by the way, 518-1410, 518-1410. I didn't know we had so many listeners who were very up to date on this slap league. I'm going to leave the show today. I learned something. This show's not about educating people. I'm just saying, but that you and the listeners taught me something. I'm going to go home and watch slap league. Kind of interested. All right, folks. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. A lot to dive into today. We don't talk a lot of Ohio State basketball, but last night my social media feeds were kind of blowing up with people having enough of Chris Holtmann. The Buckeyes have lost 5 straight. 5 straight. This is a coach that came over and replaced Thad Matta, has been to the NCAA tournament every single season. He recruits his tail off. But there's just something about basketball in January that Chris Holtmann cannot seem to figure out. We'll talk about that coming up later on in the show. Plus, looking at the quarterbacks remaining in the playoff. I was listening to a show earlier today talking about Brock Purdy being the worst quarterback remaining in this playoff field. Is that true? Is he the worst quarterback remaining? Who's the best quarterback remaining? We'll get to that around the corner as well. Plus, news out of the AFC North today, the Baltimore Ravens have parted ways with their offensive coordinator. Does that clear up the future of Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Does that make it even more murky? And the reason that's news to us here in Dayton is because, well, we're all either Browns fans, Bengals fans, Steelers fans. The AFC North, never a shortage of storylines, that's for sure. Give us a call, 518-1410. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. We'll be back in just a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 60. Tonight's going to be cloudy with showers, a low near 33. And tomorrow's going to be cloudy with snow and rain, a high near 36. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids. And say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as the next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Are you ready for tax season? Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment. Or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton. Go to BelmontBCTXS.com. BelmontBCTXS.com.
Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors, short throw projectors from 100-inch to 130-inch, all the way to your high-end dream system. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on a TV and your dream system today. Audio Etc can bring any big game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. If you can't afford your dream system, check out our huge selection of vintage and pre-owned components. Audio Etc, powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. 551 Congress Park Drive in Centerville.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
The all-new Chevrolet of Troy is now open. What makes us different? We have a state-of-the-art dealership offering experience, service, parts, and body shop. In fact, we are the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. That makes it easy for you. With experienced, tenured professionals ready to answer your questions and diagnose your vehicle quickly and efficiently. Our priority is customer service. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first stop for service, parts, and body shop. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall. If you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON info.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Based on the feedback we got during the commercial break, I think just like Kev was doing, I think everyone sprinted to YouTube and was like looking this up. So my apologies. It has not been pulled from TBS. The article that I was referencing initially did say it was pulled from TBS, but what ended up happening is they just delayed the premiere of it. I think it premiered today. Was it today or last night? So it premiered last night. So that's why it's being talked about so much today. But like it's an uncomfortable watch. Like it's one of those things where, like I think a listener said earlier in the chat section, Kev, you don't want to watch, but you can't look away. It's like a train wreck, right? Like it's exactly what it is. But yeah, you were actually looking at an old radio promotion that was very similar to that. Of course, you said it got pulled because of, well, no surprise, lawsuits.
Yeah, I mean, the video super grainy. It came out in 2005, but I rewatched it. I was like, man, this is happening all over again. And I'm guilty, man. We suck as people because this thing is going to be huge. I just added it to my DVR list on my phone. So it's going to tape the new episodes because I got to watch it because it also has like a reality show feel to it. There is a whole bunch of people living in a house together, training for the next competition. You train. And you're living in a house with people are fighting. And then at the end of the show, they go to the smack off. And the loser gets kicked out the house.
That's like the most dysfunctional family situation ever. And we have all, I'm sure, for a lot of we all have dysfunctional families. Nothing more dysfunctional than coming to family dinner at the end of the night and it ends with a slap off by the end. Of course, that could resolve some issues too. You never know. Like
sounds like the holidays.
Exactly. My goodness. With that being said, by the way, 518-1410, we'll get to your calls coming up here in just a moment. We're getting reaction on Facebook, of course, but yeah, one of the crazier ways to open up the show with that. But yeah, so I guess, Kevin, it did not get pulled. And apparently this has to have been so big in Russia because that's where this started and where it took off. Clearly TBS, because I'm always like, you're going to get a lot of negative publicity for carrying this, especially after what happened with Dana White. And reports were that they pulled it. They didn't pull it. They pulled the original premiere and just pushed back the debut to last night, of course, because last week was when the fallout was happening of Dana White slapping his wife. Right. And apparently TBS sees the money-making opportunity in this that they've overlooked that. I mean, so,
just think about like programming, the way things used to be on TBS. You used to get the Braves on all the time. You used to get the Andy Griffith show. You used to get Saved by the Bell and stuff like that. And now you're getting slap shows.
Yeah. So Forrest said he goes, I've trained in MMA and boxing and jiu-jitsu and have no clue how to train for a slap off. I think some of our listeners have a talent. Like some of you who have never been popped in the face before, you may be able to take it. Some of our listeners may have a talent that you're just not aware of. Like, how do you know Like, to me, I'm like, oh, I'll be knocked out cold in like 2 seconds if I even attempt that. So, but you don't know till you try.
Absolutely. You know who would be great at this competition? My mom. The way she used to slap me and my brother when we were kids.
So that discipline worked for you. Huh?
Absolutely.
Amazing. It's amazing. How
No
that
talking
works.
back. Go
yeah.
clean your room. Wasn't no stern talkings. Is you get one opportunity. You don't do it on the first opportunity. Second, paya.
So did you reference a show called Tags?
No. Tags.
John Slayton said, I love the Tags reference, Kev. My favorite show still.
Tags.
Did you reference a show of any kind?
I'll Google it. Is that Googleable? Is that safe to Google on a work computer?
I guess. Oof, man. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Interesting comments coming in. I know we talked about the Ohio State basketball situation. We rarely, if ever, talk Ohio State basketball. I know you're looking that up. Did you come across it? Is it a show?
I haven't seen anything.
The Andy Griffith Show. You're an Andy Griffith Show guy, Kev?
Oh, back in the day.
See, I don't. We were at a trivia event last night, and they were playing that theme in the background or whatever. And I knew what it was. I just couldn't think of the name of the show. So it's ironic that comes up less than 24 hours later. So there's that. But yeah, I got to stop going to sports bars with FanDuel, by the way.
Oh, no. Yeah, man. Andy Griffith back in the day used to watch that. Used to watch Gomer Pyle. Used to watch all that type of stuff. He came on late night on TBS as a kid. But you were at the sports bar and you got that itch.
Yeah. Well, now the itch was scratched because I'm out of my bonus bet money. So now everything moving forward is, the house, the car. And Anderson said, dysfunctional TV. Watch old reruns of All in the Family. You guys are too young to appreciate our dysfunction. Actually, I never watched cartoons growing up. I watched a lot of I watched the Jeffersons. I watched not the Jetsons. I watched the Jeffersons. I watched All in the Family. I watched sitcoms. I got made fun. I never watched cartoons growing up. I always watched sitcoms for whatever reason. I think it's what my parents had on, so I got into those shows. Roseanne, all those shows. I always got made fun of for that, but I never got into cartoons growing up.
Some of the language that was used in the late 70s and early 80s on TV shows like the Jeffersons, like All in the Family. Oh, man, like every slur in the book was being on regular broadcast TV.
Like, especially with All in the Family.
Yes.
So, yes, I know exactly. Someone disappointed Kinner. What I do this time? I mean, disappointed in you, Kinner, says Forrest. Well, normally I would talk back to people, but since you said you trained in jiu-jitsu and some of these other things, I'm just going to let that one slide today. How about Sanford and Son? There we go.
Oh, yes.
That's another good one right there. Yes, but Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I watched nothing but sitcoms growing up. So maybe that's why I always think I'm funny and I'm not. Because I think in my head, all I hear is just that sitcom laughter. It's the Shaw laughter, right? Like every time he calls in, I mean, my goodness. I mean, I just is what it is.
Recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Oof. All right. Sports. Can we, are we, should we? I mean, well, now back to the comment section. It's coming in, you big dummy. Cartoons are the best. Beverly Hillbillies is underrated. Never watched that one, Jesse. Never watched that one. But that one was on loop all the time with all the other reruns on Nick at Night back in the day.
Yes.
Okay. But Sam, yeah. Man, so I like the Steve Harvey Show too.
Absolutely.
That was always on TBS when I'd get off school. Yes. When I'd get, and Cedric the Entertainer was in there because I remember getting off school, come home, do homework, and whatever was on, it was always that show that was always on. I always found him hilarious. He's on WRU now, by the way, in the mornings.
Sir.
Just throwing that out.
Great Steve Harvey.
I was hoping we'd get him in studio one time. We always used to get
Tom
Joyner in.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Steve Harvey has, a radio show, about 5 game shows, it is what it is. Busy man.
All right. So speaking of being a busy man, how about let's transition over to Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
He may not be too busy right now. But interesting news that came out earlier today that I think caught a lot of people by surprise. But the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, Greg Roman, and the Ravens have parted ways. There's no reports of whether or not he was pushed out or that Harbaugh pushed him out, but it sounds like Roman was upset with how things have kind of gone down the last couple of seasons, and he's out. And some people are saying, okay, good riddance, I guess, according to reports. Ravens fans are thrilled about this. It's kind of like, obviously, had Matt Canada been let go from the Pittsburgh Steelers, you and other Steelers fans would have been happy about that. The thing that I find most interesting about this Baltimore Ravens situation, and I don't want to get into the whole talking points of whether they should pay Lamar or not. They should pay Lamar. They tried to pay Lamar. It wasn't obviously matching what he was wanting, and it kind of led to this weird stalemate / not stalemate that kind of went on throughout the year, and it really kind of popped up throughout this playoff run. The only problem I have is it has never been proven that Lamar was healthy enough to play and chose not to play because of the contract. I think media took off with that narrative. And if I'm him and someone could have come out, the only problem I have is sometimes I think he could have come out and put an end to that narrative.
Right.
I do think the narrative got hijacked by media and on ESPN shows more so than anybody else because they Get Up and others. Anytime I watched that, it was, Lamar, he's probably healthy enough to play, but I wouldn't play and blah, blah, blah. Now, a lot of former players run those shows, so they come at it from that perspective, or maybe they know more than we do or whatever, as far as what they, who they talk to and stuff, behind the scenes.
But and that goes to the point that you and I talked about before, especially in the offseason, like he doesn't have an agent. He's negotiating his own contract. Him and his mom are negotiating his contract. That's where the agent comes into play.
Yep.
The agent makes sure the athlete isn't the bad guy. The agent becomes the bad guy. Drew Rosenhaus, he does his thing. He goes on the media circuit and, does what he does and deflects all of it away from the athlete. But now you don't have anybody doing that work. Lamar's not about to show up on First Take and defend himself to anybody. He's going to, be himself and be to the side. I mean, he's relatively a quiet person as is. So that's another reason why he should get an agent. He should get an agent.
Especially at this point. Like, it's one thing I appreciate that that him and his mom tried that route, but I think you're ultimately, unless you really want out of Baltimore, fine. But it feels like right now you need someone professional to come in. Not that the mom is not professional, but like a professional trained agent to handle these types of situations. I think now it's at the drama point that someone needs to come in to clean it up.
Yes.
They were hoping it wouldn't have got to the drama part. They were hoping a deal would have got done and you move on like the Bills did with Josh Allen. There was no drama. It was just, here's the blank check. What do you want? Boom. And off they went. That type of thing. But what's interesting about this is everyone's acting like this is a good thing that the Ravens moved on from Greg Roman. But I've said this is what makes Lamar so unique is I've said that if you have Aaron Rodgers or you have a Joe Burrow or you have a Tom Brady, and this isn't like a white quarterback, black quarterback thing, but style of play.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow can go out, a backup can replace him. That backup is not going to be as good as Joe Burrow, but you can run the same offense with that backup because they're just a poor man's version of Joe Burrow, right? It can go on. The thing with Joe Burrow, you could replicate a guy that could throw a football. You know what you can't do? You can't replicate the athleticism of Lamar Jackson because there's only one Lamar Jackson.
Right.
So the problem with building an offense around a guy like Lamar Jackson is that when he's out, I don't care who your backup is. The offense will not run the same. And no offense runs the same when their star is out, but the offense can continue running at a certain pace because that backup can come in and still run a certain chunk of that offense. There's not one chunk of that offense that could be replicated by Tyler Huntley or Brown or whatever other quarterback you want to put in there behind Lamar because Lamar is Lamar.
Right.
That's his strength, but that's also his weakness because it's not like if Joe Burrow misses time, you could throw a backup in there and maybe still have a guy that's capable enough to get the ball to T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and so on and so on. When the offense is predicated around the quarterback making plays with his legs at the same pace, basically, as what you would want out of his arm, the problem is when Lamar goes out, 50% of the offense disappears on top of the passing game, obviously taking a hit as well. That's the concern with the Baltimore Ravens moving forward. And the problem I have with acting as if Greg Roman leaving is a good thing for the Baltimore Ravens, it's not. Greg Roman, the only reason that Lamar got to the situation, the only reason that Lamar got to the situation that he was an MVP caliber quarterback was because the offense decided to, or the Ravens decided to build an offense around the talents of course, Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens, despite being the enemy and the perception thing here is, the fact that they don't respect Lamar, they don't do this. The Ravens did everything in their power to build the entire offense around him, including Roman coming in. In fact, the year he won MVP was with Roman because they built the entire offense around his skill set. So Roman's is looked like a genius because he built this around Lamar Jackson. But the problem is when he's on that field, they win, and they win a lot of football games. And Roman looks like a genius. When Lamar's not there, they plummet and to last place. And of course, they did enough with him to get into the playoffs, but they plummeted out of the playoffs, of course, because no Lamar Jackson. So I don't agree that Roman leaving is a good thing for the Baltimore Ravens because he played a big piece in building the offense around Lamar to get him to that level. Now, Lamar's talented. he deserves credit for that. But my point is, you still have to have the right, system to put you in that position. The Ravens have done that. But when Lamar's out, there's no one else that you could put in that position to keep it going. So I think Roman getting criticized for how bad the offense was, that is just, no matter who Lamar plays for, whether it is the Dolphins moving forward, I don't care if he goes to the Minnesota Vikings, I don't care if he goes to Carolina, I don't care where he goes next. Whoever gets Lamar will have an explosive offense when he's on that field. But there is not a backup quarterback that you could put behind him that is going to replicate anything he does in even a tiny fashion. So what you're going to get is 15 points per game, because there's nothing you can do to continue running that offense to get any kind of productivity out it that is going to make you worth the damn offensively. So I don't think all of that is Roman's fault. Everyone was blaming Roman. It's like, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, when you are going to build it all around Lamar, it is Lamar and Lamar only. But when Lamar's not there, because if he's injured or whatever the situation is now, Huntley can't replicate it. You could send Burrow to Baltimore. Burrow's not succeeding even in that system because it's a Lamar system. So Lamar's strength is also his weakness, not necessarily his fault. But yeah, like I said, backup quarterbacks, you could back up elite level quarterbacks and still go in and move the ball around in certain situations. Look at Purdy and look at some of these other situations with the 49ers. Not in Baltimore. There's not a quarterback out there other than Justin Fields that could back up Lamar Jackson and just pick up where Lamar leaves off and the offense continues to flow. That's the concern I have. Moving on from Roman, I don't know if that was a good idea if you're Baltimore.
I think it's a good idea because you want not only your offense to mature, but you want Lamar to mature past a zone read style of offense. And the biggest problem I've had with Greg Roman, not only his days with Baltimore, were his days with the San Francisco 49ers. You're running basically triple option football, which is fine. But the difference between triple option football back in the day and triple option football today is today we spread them out. We got the wide splits. We got the wide receivers split out. So we got numbers in the box. Baltimore does everything tight. Everything's tight. They have tight splits. They run double tight ends and keep everything compact. So if you have an athlete like Lamar Jackson playing quarterback, you want to spread things out. You want to create as many lanes as possible. Those lanes aren't there. And then on top of that, you throw in the fact that like your talent level at wide receiver are 7th and 4th round picks, or Deshaun Jackson, who's 35 years old. Like, you don't have like a lot of talent out there playing wide receiver anyway. So nobody's demanding a double team. So that goes to obviously general managers. And then you look at the offense, everybody's going to blame the OC. I mean, I blame Canada for the Steelers. The Chargers just fired their OC because they only scored 3 points in the second half versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. So for me, if I'm Baltimore, I'm looking at the guy that got Lamar drafted. I'm looking at the guy that got Lamar developed from potentially playing wide receiver and cornerback in college to a pro quarterback. I might be dialing up Bobby Petrino. I know Bobby Petrino is a scumbag. I know he had a terrible run as a head coach with the Falcons, but he's a great offensive mind. And what he did at Louisville, he spread them out.
Yep.
He spread them out. Like, hey, all right, well, they have to respect those guys. They're not going to just let somebody be out there wide open on the slot. So they have to walk somebody out. So I would call Bobby Petrino to be my OC if I'm the Baltimore Ravens.
So the guy that built the offense to get Lamar to, and again, I hate that because I still think at times, I do think OCs get too much credit. I really do. I think all coaches get a little too much. Like Zach Taylor was a bum when they were losing, but they're winning, and now he's great. Like I just think that their ability to do their job's always there. It's just what pieces you have.
Right.
However, but with that being said, Roman played a role in building that offense around Lamar that Lamar was able to take his talents and maximize it too. We're about to find out who played a bigger role in that. The offense that he was playing in, or Lamar elevating a bad scheme. Because the other thing too is maybe you can get more creative. Maybe they got boxed in with Lamar. Maybe the strength that got him that MVP is what actually boxed him in to where maybe he does have more to bring to the table when it comes to the pass game and some of these other situations. So that's what we'll talk about on the other side. Because Kev, I know with of course the announcement that Matt Canada is coming back to Pittsburgh.
Good times.
Which decision will negatively impact their team more? The Ravens' decision to move on from Roman, or the Steelers' decision to bring back Matt Canada? AFC North fans, Bengals fans, Browns fans, of course, you're all a part of this conversation, but it is an interesting decision. Hell, you can even throw the Chargers in there too, which impact, negative impact will it have bringing back another year of Staley? Very weird decision there too. But once we found out that they were getting rid of Lombardi and their coordinators, I'm like, you don't announce you're getting rid of coordinators if you're not getting rid of your head coach, because you get rid of the head coach, you're just assuming everyone's gone anyways.
Right.
That was a weird situation as well. But we'll be right back. 518-1410. I see Dickie's on hold. Dickie, you're going to be our first caller on the other side. I promise you that. We'll be right back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio, right in time for the NFL playoffs. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports, anytime and anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code WING1410 and bet $5 or more will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Now, just because my Pittsburgh Steelers didn't make the playoffs doesn't mean I shouldn't try to make some money with some same-game parlays and player props. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DKNG.co/OH for terms.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Need an online notary? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. We can notarize your documents remotely at no charge to you. All you need is a smartphone or laptop. Visit.
Cordell Transportation is hiring third shift dispatchers / customer service representatives. Excellent pay, great benefits, no experience necessary, and paid training. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com or stop in today at 2942 Boulder Avenue in Dayton. Equal opportunity employer.
Nothing protects your engine better than AMSOIL lubricants. Get ready for winter. Protect your investment. AMSOIL, the first in synthetic since 1972. Come out to Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North, Dayton Lakeview Road. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Save up to 80% when you file with TaxSlayer. Start for free.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You used to associate crickets with silence. But since you bought a house in the suburbs, you know crickets hate silence. If any other creature realized rubbing its legs together made a piercing, high-pitched noise, they might think, maybe I won't do that. Constantly. All night long. Luckily, you can save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. Now that's something to make noise about. Just not constantly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey guys, listen up. If you're over 40, I've got a little tip for you. The reality is, once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. It's just a scientific fact. The good news? You can actually do something about it with Nugenix Total T. Look, you don't want just any testosterone booster. You want the best, and Nugenix is #1 all the way. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster and the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. And right now, you can get a complimentary bottle by texting TIP to 42424. Nugenix Total T is a game changer, and guys all over America are raving about it. So that's my tip. If you're a guy over 40, you need Nugenix Total T. To get your complimentary bottle, text TIP to 42424. Text now, and they'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text TIP to 42424. Text TIP to 42424.
Here at Roosters, we're not just a fun casual joint. We're a family. No matter who we are serving, our guests or our community, we strive to better the lives of those around us. Whether it's aiding in the battle against cancer, helping to educate the next generation, or simply putting a smile on someone's face, the Roosters Foundation has helped raise over $1 million annually for local charities. Our community has given us so much. This is the least we can do. Roosters, we're a fun casual joint, but so much more.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, and we are back. Jocelyn Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I see Dickie's waiting on hold. We'll get to him coming up here in just a moment. But picking up where we left off, of course, as we're live here on the Jocelyn Kinner Show Facebook page. By the way, make sure you check that out. Not download Facebook. You have Facebook. But subscribe to the Facebook page, but make sure you have YouTube.
Go to the App
well.
Store,
And
download Facebook.
Yeah, whatever.
Metaverse.
Yes, do everything. So Damon Hunt on Facebook says the Eagles' offense is everything that Baltimore should have strived to be. As far as that's concerned. And so here's the deal too. So my thing when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens is, as a Browns fan, I was told when receivers start wanting out because they want out of an offense is because they don't want to play with the quarterback. That was the perception of the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield. Now Lamar Jackson and Baker, I'm not putting them in the same conversation. I'm using the quarterback. The talking points that I learned during the Brown stretch was that OBJ needed to get out because of the quarterback. Jarvis didn't want to come back because of the quarterback, not knowing what the quarterback situation would be. Pass catchers wanted to go play with a quarterback. The only good receiver that Lamar has really had throughout this stretch, as far as a reliable guy, was Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, that one receiver wanted out, it was, he wanted out of that offensive scheme. And my counter to that was, I feel like we're moving the goalpost with this, because what I actually think that means is if you want out of the scheme, you want out of the scheme that was put in place because of the quarterback. So you ultimately want out because of the quarterback. That scheme only exists because of the quarterback. At least that's how it's been presented to us. So that's why I've always said, hey, I think receivers are telling us that they don't want to play with Lamar Jackson. Free agent wide receivers have not wanted to come play with Lamar. So it's one of those where everyone wonders about, Well, what is it? Is Lamar the problem? Is it the offense that's the problem? Is it Baltimore being lazy and not wanting to go get free agent wide receivers? It's interesting that they did pulled up a graphic that talked about how the fact that the Ravens, since drafting Lamar in 18, every first and second round draft pick has been utilized on the offensive side of the ball, whether it be offensive linemen, whether it be wide receivers or running backs. Now, that's the intent is there. The intent is to provide Lamar with every weapon possible in the draft. But I mean, you still have to have that urgency. Sometimes I think Baltimore falls into the trap that your team does. It's you have a great franchise and you have the Baltimore way, the Steeler way, and the Patriot way, but in the Packer way. And sometimes the stubbornness of those organizations gets in their way. I believe Pittsburgh has actually held themselves back over the years. If they just got a little more aggressive, Kev, imagine what they could have done to elevate some of the teams that they've had. Had the Packers been a little more aggressive when it comes to their time with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams when they had him, imagine how much better they would be. Same thing with Baltimore. I know they drafted, now it's the Baltimore way. We're going to build through the draft and we'll, go get, cost-efficient free agents. But man, they could be blamed for that too. But at the same time, who knows? We don't know if they tried to go get big name wide receivers.
Right.
No one was forcing their way out to go play with Lamar. So sometimes can we connect those dots and say, well, wide receivers don't trust Lamar to get their stats for them to get their payday, especially in today's climate where receivers are getting just as much money as quarterbacks at times. It's a very weird thing. So that's why you and I were talking during the break. I'm actually excited to see if they mix it up, because if they do bring in a coordinator that's a spread offense now and you put Lamar in a pro style offense, guess what? We're going to find out if all the critics were right that, hey, Lamar's styles had the deficiencies are enough to slow down the offense and that he had a great year and he has great, talents, but it's not ultimately what makes an elite quarterback. Or we're going to find out if he's just been held back for the last 3 years and that it really was Roman's offensive scheme. Well, that's what I'm most intrigued by as a Browns fan. I hope that's not the case. I hope we were right as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, for me, I hate to play the luck card, but we look at the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of things had to go right for Philadelphia. They went and got Carson Wentz, and they traded him, and they drafted Jalen Hurts, and then they were bad enough that they were able to get Devontae Smith, and then that's when they were able to acquire AJ Brown. So a lot of things had to go right for them because they're not in a position to say like, oh man, we got two really good wide receivers and we got a really good quarterback. Is simply because you were so bad. Kind of like your point about the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, well, they got good because they were bad. And that's the great thing about the NFL, which makes the NFL totally different from college football. When you're bad, there's still hope for you because all you need is a quarterback. All you need is a wide receiver. And then boom, hey, man, you were 9-7 in the playoffs. All you need is a wide receiver. Now you need a wide receiver that's disgruntled, like an AJ Brown who wanted a contract. Oh man, I'm real good friends with Jalen Hurts. I want to go play with Jalen Hurts, and boom, you magically have a relationship. You have that relationship, and then you have Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith who played together at Alabama. So you have a lot of things going right for them. And then you take a look at what they're doing down in Miami. They come to a realization like, all right, we got Waddle who played with Tua at Alabama, starting to be a theme here. And then you have a disgruntled employee. Player like Tariq Hill who wants to go home. Home is Miami. Guess where he's going? Miami. So a lot of things sometimes just simply have to line up. The cards have to line up. And right now, I don't think any of those cards are lining up for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson to land a big-time wide receiver. You talked about DeAndre Hopkins. I could see DeAndre Hopkins landed with the Cleveland Browns. There's a relationship there with Deshaun Watson. There's built-in relationship right there. They were teammates at Clemson. They were teammates with the Texans. Obviously, they have a rapport with each other. I don't see anybody out there that is going to be like, oh, man, I want to go back home to Baltimore. Oh, man, I played wide receiver at Louisville with Lamar Jackson. I want to go play with him again. I just don't see that. And that's the way sports or the NFL is going. They're going to these duos that had a relationship together. I was reading an article about the Pittsburgh Steelers, about them possibly drafting Jordan Addison from USC, who played wide receiver for Pitt when Kenny Pickett was there. Like, that's a thing now. Like, it's starting to catch on with other teams. So, I mean, look at Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown from Baltimore traded to the Arizona Cardinals, played wide receiver with Kyler Murray at Oklahoma. So we can't just say, oh, that's just a coincidence. That's just a coincidence. These things are happening on purpose now. So I just
sounds like the players have a lot of power too.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, Baltimore, be aggressive, go get a wide receiver, but you've changed my mind on that to a certain extent because every single one of the Philly going to get AJ Brown.
Yeah.
it was kind of an agree, like everything was facilitated on both sides. So I do give NFL teams credit. As much as we bash on owners, like they do a very good job of kind of working with talent to like, okay, what's a win-win for both of us.
Those picks help.
The NBA, it's not the case. NBA teams
No.
are petty. The Spurs, Kawhi Leonard, we're going to send you to Toronto. You know, the NFL, we're going to send you to the Raiders. We're going to send you to a playoff team. You know, in the NFL, they're helping you. Or we're going to send you to Philadelphia. We're going to help you go win somewhere. In the NBA, okay, Kawhi, thanks for nothing, dude.
Yeah, you got to
enjoy your time in Toronto. Now he won a championship, but they didn't send him there thinking he'd go win a championship.
Right.
But like,
you got to be LeBron James to be able to dictate your terms and where you're going to ultimately end up if you request a trade from a team. The regular Joe Schmo in the NBA, you could be playing in Siberia for all they care. But like, yeah, in NFL, when you're a top level player, especially in a contract year, when you're able to get multiple picks, the organization is willing to do it. They're willing to do it. So I just don't see who's out there that they could go get. Obviously, we're still smack dab in the middle of the playoffs, but I just don't see a free agent out there, wide receiver wise, that Baltimore can say, hey, Lamar, we're going to give you this contract. I know it's not as much as you want, but it's going to give us enough wiggle room to land this wide receiver. He's going to be your number one guy, and we're going to do big things. Who is that guy out there? I just don't know. I could be dead wrong. I just don't see it.
Because then when we've had guys that have had the opportunity to walk their way over there, like free agents, like the Ravens were in on Juju Smith-Schuster.
Right.
That's not a big. He's not going to turn. Like, he's a great target. If you have him as wide receiver, is a fine target. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need guys like that. But he had a chance to go to Baltimore, chose not to. OBJ had a chance to go to Baltimore, chose not to, despite working out with Lamar and stuff in the offseason. So that's why I always point at examples like that. Like, sometimes the players tell you, like, yeah, we can get mad at the team, but we don't know every time a team went after someone that they got rejected.
True.
So we only base it off of, oh, you're not doing anything. Well, how many times have they tried and struck out? I'm not saying that's the case, but at the, right away, I always blame players, but who knows what's going on in this particular situation. All right. Before we close it out, let's go to Dickie. Dickie, thanks for holding, sir. How are you, buddy?
Oh, how you doing, Justin and Kevin?
Good. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, good. Hey, Justin, I would just want to refer something. What do you think of this new head defensive coach for the Browns?
I think they got I think there was two prime targets for them, and Brian Flores and Schwartz. Schwartz was the safer of the two because Flores is going to be a head coach again in the NFL, and if they have a great year in Cleveland, which I anticipate they will, he'll be fast-tracked to a head coaching job in the NFL if maybe it doesn't already happen this year. Schwartz is a great get for Cleveland because I'm not saying he has no intentions of wanting to be a head coach, but I think he is a perfect defensive fit for them. I think he's one of those guys that has accepted his role as a coordinator, would always accept a head coaching job if it was offered to him, but I think he's a great addition. He'll be in Cleveland for a couple years, and that they need some stability in that position.
You know, another thing, too, I watched last night. I'm telling you, those guys are really good on Fox Sports. The Cavaliers looked pretty good last night.
Did they hold on to win? I was watching.
I don't know.
Steve Adams tipped it at the buzzer.
Yeah, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell last night, but Dickie, the thing about them, they don't have to have Mitchell because Garland steps up and carries the scoring load. Like them losing last night, it's not whether they're good or bad. That's just one of those you need to get on the road, of course. But Cleveland's a very good basketball team. I mean, they're what we thought they were going to be, and then some.
I got to tell you today,
Okay.
I've done it now, Justin and Kevin.
What'd you do?
I decided to switch instruments, so I took one of my friends in the band, gave me this it's a Doreen. And do you know something? Sue said, Dick, have you been practicing? I mean, Dick, I said, well, music comes, but everybody was, I was going down the string and jamming. And so I got from a mandolin to a uke, and now I'm looking for a banjo mandolin.
What's a band? I'm going to Google. What's a banjo mandolin, Dickie? What's a banjo mandolin?
A banjo mandolin has got 8 strings. It's just like a little banjo, and you play it like a mandolin. Now, there's a banjo uke that's pretty. It's small, and it's either got 3 or 4 strings, and it's a little bit of an octave. And your G chord on the mandolin, you got fingers on the fretboard. Now, you make a 3-finger, and then the G is and you got a baritone uke. It's played like a guitar. And this one lady, I was playing her, she had sort of a royal or a gold tone. It was red. And, man, I could play we were doing This Land Is Your Land. And, man, I was rocking rocking. I have a good time. You know, a lot of people there one of my teachers, and he says, well, I call him Dickster. He says, but he told the girls today. He says Dick knows his sports. He just one a student in my class, so I know a few people, don't I?
Oh, absolutely. And every time we talk to the people in Cleveland, they say, "How's Dick from Dayton doing?" So they always ask about you.
Tony Grossi, Dion Chair. I called him D-Rod. Hey, Dick, are you drinking too much? After I called, you know what Tony Grossi says?
What he say?
Well, he sends cards, he says, before Christmas, but we read them,
Well, good stuff. But Dickie, that's pretty cool. I don't even know how to play one instrument. It sounds like you're over here like just you have all these options. That's pretty dang cool. But keep it up, man. Okay.
I meet a lot of people. They hear me and they like to come. And I miss the store, but I think if I get to Nashville, I'll invite you guys down.
That sounds like a big time party that'll be hard to turn down, Dickie. But Dickie, you the best, buddy. Appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care.
Later.
All right, Dick from Dayton, big Browns fan. Love Dick from Dayton.
Absolutely. When we come back from the break, I want to run down FanDuel's top 10 wide receiver free agents from 2023.
Okay. From 2023.
Yes. This upcoming season. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. We'll be right back. Appreciate all the interaction on the social media side of things. Dick from Dayton, always great hearing from you. I've had a couple callers call in too, wanting us to get back to the quarterback conversation too. So we'll do that at some point. Ohio State, Chris Holtmann, the seat getting warm. Yeah, lots to get into coming up in hour 2. We'll be right back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Floor tile for your home for less. Get up to 50% off select styles while you can. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the truckload event today. Valid 12/29 to 1/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Discount taken at time of purchase. Shop limited time deals at the truckload event at Lowe's, happening now. Save big on your favorites across the store. During this event, get up to 50% off select tools and accessories. Plus, find the perfect floor tile for your home for less. Get up to 50% off select styles while you can. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the truckload event today. Valid 12/29 to 1/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Discount taken at time of purchase.
They say they'll get your biggest tax refund. Jackson Hewitt says your biggest tax refund guaranteed, and a chance to double your tax refund. Thousands in weekly prizes during the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. Your biggest refund times 2, twice the money, so forget about them. File your taxes on the double at Jackson Hewitt today. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Promotion ends 4/2/23. Visit jacksonhewitt.com for rules.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Dayton and the Miami Valley enjoy buying products made in the USA. Unfortunately, many HVAC products are now made in the communist country of China, and that's where the profits go too. McAfee systems come from the states of Indiana, South Carolina, Iowa, and Texas, and we're proud of it. 32 years strong. Get an estimate online at mcair.com.
Want to make tonight's dinner a perfect 10? Swing by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. With 10 freshly marinated, honey-dipped premium tenderloins, 3 dipping sauces, 2 of our irresistible large sides, and 5 fluffy biscuits, it's family time made from scratch. Take home a top-notch dinner the whole family will love from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest tax refund, plus a chance to double your refund with the Double Your Refund sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal return ends 4/2/23.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Hey, Ohio, Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash with you here to let you know that the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in Ohio just in time for the NFL playoffs. And new customers in Ohio can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Kinner, KINNER. Finally, you can bet on all of your favorite sports with everything from the money line to point spreads to player props or my personal favorite, in-game parlays. So go ahead and win some bucks in the Buckeye State, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hour 2 of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Make sure you go and like and follow the page. That's where you can watch us weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can interact with us in the comment section. We pull your comment as well as your profile picture into the show, personalize a little bit, get to interact with you that way, or you can give us a call at 518-1410. A new feature to the show as well. We have the text line, which is the same as the call-in line. So if you want to call us at 518-1410, you can do so, or you can text us at 518-1410. Put that 937 in front of it, of course, but the text line is a pretty cool way to interact with us as well. In fact, we used it for a contest over the weekend. WWE Live, or not, shouldn't say WWE Live, WWE Monday Night Raw was in Cincinnati this past Monday night. We were able to give tickets away over the weekend and take advantage of that. So again, it's important that you also make sure you remember that number as well, because that's how we'll be giving away a lot of tickets, especially with baseball season coming up around the corner, concert season coming up around the corner. Kev, you share the concert tickets from time to time, correct?
I do. And this season is going to be absolutely crazy. People are really starting to get back out there to festivals. You know, we're going to have tickets to the Cincinnati Music Festival. Tons of tickets this summer we're going to give away. Going to have some Taylor Swift tickets as well. Very hot item out there on the reseller market. Do with it as you please, but you know, if you win them, go to the show. If you win them, sell them, do what you got to do.
Well, Dave, you just pushing the resale value. Damn.
Hey, I saw those things and I was like, ugh! Like people are really dropping $1,500 a ticket.
I mean, a lot of parents had to really question how much they love their kids when those tickets came out. What's the most money you've ever spent on a ticket to anything? I've thought about this. Me and you are a little different because, you know, we're spoiled working in the industry that we do. But I do know that when our bosses smarten up and fire me and I have to go back to just having a regular person job, I don't know if I can ever return to buying tickets. Like I am a ticket snob. I don't mind. I don't think I'm not a snobby person, but I am when it comes to tickets. I'm very picky about where I sit now because I've been spoiled, and it's the perks of the job. And that is one of them.
I don't know the exact amount, but I paid about $300 for a resale ticket to go to a football game before. But concert tickets and comedy show tickets, you're right. We are super spoiled. Like I can't remember the last time I actually paid to go to a concert or a comedy show. Like I always go for free. Or if it's like something that's like sold out, I just make a phone call and say, "Hey, I need tickets."
Oh, wow. So
and I get them.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Nash.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you know who I am.
Sometimes you got to pull that card. This one time, Beyonce, she was in Detroit.
You call Beyonce?
Yeah, I called Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Hit him up. Say, hey man, I need a pair of tickets. No, they were in Detroit, and it was my wife's birthday weekend, and I called in a favor because obviously we're not going to get tickets to a Beyonce concert in Detroit, so I had to call the record label. Say, hey man, I need a pair of tickets. Good seats if you can. They're for the wife and the sister-in-law. Sent them to me. Surprised her like, hey, happy birthday. Pay for the hotel. I was husband of the week. Husband of the week. Husband of the week.
It doesn't last long then. Husband of the week.
Pay for the hotel. Got the tickets. Good tickets. Good seats.
Good. Clapping, smiling, following along. Steve Stetler says he's going to Vegas to see Adele next week.
Nice.
He goes, I paid 12 each. Happy wife, happy life. When you say 12, like $12 to see Adele?
$1,200 each?
Yeah, like you got, because I don't know if I'm not judging you for if you paid $1,200 each, but I'm actually impressed you found tickets in Vegas for $12 each. So do you mean $1,200?
I paid, let me think.
Hundo. Yep.
Dang.
You said $1,200 each.
I paid $200 each to see Usher in Vegas. So yeah, with everything included, like $450 with all the fees and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean,
$1,200 each. Oh my gosh.
I don't think I've ever spent a ton of money on any kind of tickets growing up for anything. Like we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I never really, we never really got to go do anything like that. And then even when I became an adult, I didn't have a whole lot of money early on in college. So yeah, interesting nonetheless. But the most money you spend on a ticket to a sporting event or a concert, it doesn't matter. I am curious that 518-1410 or on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page in the comment section or ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. The most money you ever spent on tickets to an event. Because these Taylor Swift tickets, I know this is news from a while back, but again, as Kev just alluded to, we're going to be giving some away here at the station. So that's pretty exciting, even on a little sports station. That's pretty neat. So he said, Steve Stetler, you're a concert dude, it sounds like. Bruno Mars, $300 each.
Was it worth it? That's my question. Standing room only?
I'm assuming he goes, Bruno Mars, sat only $300 each. Again, I'm assuming he means standing room. I don't know. But either way, I don't know. I'm trying to think, if I didn't have this job, would I be the kind of guy that would drop money on tickets to go?
I wouldn't.
A buddy of mine I talked to him over the weekend. He went to WrestleMania last year. Tickets like for WrestleMania this year, like thousands because it's in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. But if you wait, like as you get closer, people think it gets more expensive as you get closer. No, people start getting a little uneasy, but you have to be patient and you have to risk maybe not going at all if that's the case. But yeah, he got 2 tickets. He went both nights for $800, not each. He got to see Stone Cold Steve Austin a couple rows back for $800, nice. Not like combined for both nights. I was like, oh, that's not bad. But the same tickets he sat in, he said were like thousands of dollars, like the months leading into it.
Yeah, my brother, he's gone to the Final Four a couple of times, and he says Monday night, the championship night, tickets are way cheaper than the actual Final Four on that Saturday night because obviously people just go home, like they're not sticking around to watch.
It is weird. The Final Four is a bigger deal than the actual national championship game. Is that the college football playoff too? Like I feel maybe it's because there's more teams involved, and once you go down to 2
on the Final Four is because you get 2 games as opposed on the Monday night. You only get the championship game. You know, I'm not sticking around if Syracuse loses in the Final Four. If I'm not sticking around to watch the other 2 teams play, I'm going home.
Yeah. By the way, country concert every year is a lot of fun. We're supposed to be going this year. They have a very good lineup this year, but that's more for the experience. I don't really care about the tickets. Get the campsite. Drink for 3 straight days. I mean, camping basically. I don't like really camping, but for this, I make an exception. It's a pretty good time.
My little cousin, she's trying to talk all the cousins into going to Coachella.
Where's that at?
California.
Oh, that's what Colin's always referring to on his show.
Why not? Not gonna happen. She's been to Burning Man in Las Vegas. Like that's the cousin I'm talking about. Her boyfriend is a roadie. So he goes to all these venues and sets up and everything like that. And she's basically a mini roadie. So she loves it. I can't do it. I can't do porta potties. I just can't.
So see, that's what I thought too. But like these porta potties have gotten pretty fancy. Like high end porta potties. Give Country Concert a lot of credit. Give them a lot of pub. But like they have like not just the plastic crappers you see when you're out like at random fairs and stuff. Like these are the ones. I mean, there's lights in them.
Oh,
there's lights in they I'm sure they smell good at the beginning. They don't smell too good into it, but like you don't feel gross leaving one. Let's just put it that way. Like I feel gross. Like every one of you are smelling a porta potty right now. You all know what I'm talking about. We're talking about it. You all know that weird. It's gross. It's nasty. Country Concert. They do a good job. Now I don't know what it is by day 3, but in the one day that we went last year and all that stuff and friends that were there, not bad.
Okay.
You can get through it. It. Now the showers though. See, they had the nice shower stands there too, but like you also don't want to get the shower. So the shower stand that was there, people that were the long line was for the one on the far left because people that pee in the shower, it would just kind of go down the thing. So like you're showering. I just said, that's gross to me. That I wouldn't do. Everyone was.
Do yourself a favor. Watch the documentary on Woodstock 99. It's on Netflix.
Yes, it's crazy.
It's crazy. I think matter of fact, you told me about it. Yeah.
I was in shock watching it.
Like that one lady, she got like a staph infection or something like that because of the urine being just rolling down the street.
And the heat, and then the dudes that ran it were scumbags, and they didn't care because they got their money, and there was no social media back then, so it's not like you can really like you were trapped there basically. And then the way they outsourced all the vendors. You had to buy water, and like people were out of money at a certain point, and like ATM machines weren't even working for you to get money out.
Yeah, this is before the debit card days.
It's like 100 degrees outside too, so people were like heat exhaustion. There wasn't enough, emergency personnel to match the amount of people that needed attended to. Complete blank show. But I was fascinated by it, and then like they're getting mad at like Limp Bizkit and everyone else, and I'm like, well, they were like egging it on, like they wanted to see the people just tear it down. Well, they had a vehicle to get them the hell out of the way. Yeah. Steve Stetler said we went from Lamar to Porter Johns. Gotta love it. Yes, it's a Friday feel on the show today, by the way.
Oh, man, Friday's going to be a great show.
Steve, you missed the start to the show because we were talking about Slapfest, by the way. So just throwing that out there. Yes, it's been a wild show today.
Loosey goosey.
Maybe the next caller will get us back on track, I believe. Who we got, Kev?
We got the DoorDash Ray.
Oh, DoorDash Ray? Did you just like, have you been in jail for the last like 6-7 months? Where have you been? Oh, apparently he ran out of minutes in the cell. I don't know. I feel really bad if he really was in jail. Call us back, DoorDash, right? Yeah, I guess
you used your one call on us and you hung up.
Didn't one of who was one of our assistants that was what was that the movie he was an extra in?
Oh, Stephen. He was in that Netflix movie
the serial killer dude.
Yeah, not Dahmer, the other dude.
Now the other one that was more easier to watch, I guess. Dahmer, that one was weird.
Ooh, yikes.
We are really off the rails today, but I thought it was cool when he pointed out. So we watched that show not too long ago when we found the scene that he was in where he was just on the phone as an extra in jail. So
that's pretty cool.
Oh, all right. My ADD in full force. Maybe this is him. DoorDash Ray, is this you?
Okay, there we are.
Yeah, you're on live, buddy. What you doing? What you been up to?
Hey, well, we're talking about the highest price tickets you ever paid for things. I do have one question though before we get to that. What do you do at a big venue or an event, and if you refuse to use the Porta John, you're just gonna hold it the whole time? Or I just don't understand.
No,
what are you gonna do?
These are the things I get anxiety about. Like anytime we want to go somewhere, I'm like, okay, I need to know though, like how we get home, what's the bathroom situation, what's the sleeping situations like. If we can't get home, like these are things that I can't have a good time until I know all these boxes are checked. I watch people like New Year's Eve down in like Times Square, and I'm like, that's way too many people. There's no way that the Porter John to people ratio is enough to balance that out. Like, are people just like peeing on themselves?
I'm sure they probably have. They probably are. It is New York City.
And you drink, you break that seal. I don't know about y'all, but I break that seal and I'm done. Like my night is over with. Yeah. It's worse now that I'm getting in my mid 30s now, so it's even worse. So yeah, that's the other thing too, man. Like it almost feels like a stomach ulcer by the time I finally decide, okay, I'm gonna break the seal.
Yeah, I've got the bladder the size of a thimble, so I totally understand what you're saying.
Ted Bundy,
real
by
quick,
the way.
The highest thing I've ever had to pay for. I just recently got out of
jail,
rehabilitation and therapy for gambling.
Oh, so my jail comments are really unnecessary and real unprofessional on my end. So my apologies. So we'll let you reset that. My bad, dude. So keep going.
No, it was. I was all good till I heard the silky smooth voice of Kevin with DraftKings. And next thing you know, I'm getting
so he's he's the insensitive one.
I blame Kev. But no, that's the highest. That's the highest thing I've ever had. I've never had that. I think we paid about $400 for tickets to a Bengals Raiders game one time, and that was too much. But because we always lose, so.
But with the Raiders in Vegas now, that's like an experience over there. So.
Oh man, it's horrible. We're quarterbackless. We're defensive quarter. He stinks. It's just everything stinks with our team right now. So Brady's coming, they say, but I don't want to see that. It's just horrible. You're hearing all this nonsense. Derek Carr's an awesome quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. But I am hearing a lot now. He just didn't jive with McDaniels and just.
Let me ask you this, just because I am curious. I think sometimes the most dangerous quarterback you can get in the NFL. Like I do believe this. Like when the Cardinals got Josh Rosen, I think it's better to get a Josh Rosen than a Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins, because I think those quarterbacks are dangerous. And here's why: because you don't know if it's safe or not to move on from him. And I think that the Raiders have held on to Carr for a long, long time because he does just enough to win you games, and he does just enough to make you think that you have something. And then there's just too many examples of it not working out. Kirk Cousins is the same way in Minnesota. How many times have we seen major blow-up games from him where he's just killing it with the likes of, obviously, Justin Jefferson and all the weapons he's had over the years? And then all of a sudden, like right now, Minnesota is like, okay, it's safe to bring him back because we know we could win with him, but he's also the reason why you can't go. Look at all the QBs left in the playoff. The QBs that'll lose this weekend, it'll most likely be the Daniel Joneses and those guys. Purdy's a little protected with what's around him. But like, I feel like those are the worst quarterbacks to have because you need to get an elite quarterback to win in this league. And sometimes you run in place when you keep guys like Kirk Cousins, you keep guys like Carr. I know you say you like Carr, but maybe this might be the best thing to happen to the Raiders because it's going to force them to go get a CJ Stroud or something. And what happens if all of a sudden he comes in and they take off? That might have been what the Raiders needed all along.
Charlie?
That ain't Charlie. That was DoorDash Ray.
DoorDash Ray. I'm sorry.
Ray. DoorDash Ray. We lie. Apparently, I do talk a lot. Do you see my point, though? I think that the Derek Carr quarterbacks are dangerous because I think they're teasers. They make you believe you have something. They make you, then you have that talk, and then they say, well, maybe we can have kids, and that'll fix the marriage. That's what Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins and QBs like that do. I think the best thing that ever happened to the Cardinals was Josh Rosen stunk early. The best thing that could happen to the Jets, Kev, is the fact that Wilson is not showing signs of being able to work. Like, I think that that's a good thing. Like, people think that's the worst thing in the world, but I think the best thing that could have happened to the Browns, Kev, was that Baker did prove, okay, he can't take that next step, that he didn't improve. That made that easy to move on to Deshaun Watson. I think the worst thing you can do is continue to do maybe next year. Like Geno Smith, prime example. It's great that he stepped in and led the Seahawks there. But the Seahawks now, you continue building around that and just be a 9 to 10 win fringe wildcard playoff team every year, or do you tank and try to get an elite quarterback? What do you do? Like, I think these quarterbacks are dangerous in the NFL because they're hard to find, but they also keep you running in place, and that could also be a dangerous thing as well, like the Vikings.
The Seahawks are in a unique position because they made the playoffs, but they still have a top 10 draft pick.
Yep.
So a lot of the other teams out there that like kind of run into place. So we take your Kirk Cousins example for example. I think you run it back with Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins has shown the ability, especially this year. Like we talked about with Fitz, it wasn't his fault that they lost. He's getting blamed for it, but it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
He doesn't play cornerback. He doesn't play linebacker. He doesn't play defensive end. It wasn't his fault. But I think that they can make a leap if you make some defensive changes, to obviously personnel and see what you can do. The Geno thing is the one for me because as an organization, you don't want to be that organization that doesn't reward a guy that, is stuck it out and, play better than the guy that helped you win a Super Bowl a couple years ago. So you obviously want to reward that person, but you still want to keep it real with yourself and keep it real with your organization and say, hey, he's not elite. He's okay, but he's not elite. So the question remains, do you want an okay quarterback or you want to just try to get an elite quarterback. I think the Lions are looking at that same position. Yeah, it's getting wicked.
Do you think we're about to I don't mean to have my ADHD full force today, folks, but it is scary as hell sounding outside. I am not listening to a word Kev just said, and it sounds like he made a lot of great points, but the wind, we could hear it just increasingly get closer. I keep waiting to something to hit us, but I don't understand what's happening. But back to your point, if this is the last point we ever make.
No, I just look at these quarterbacks, and you're right. It's a question. It's what is a bird in a hand better than, what's the saying, how to go? Bird in a hand's better. I don't know.
I didn't mean to leave you hanging there. I don't know.
Would you go ahead and dump Geno to try to go get a Stroud or a Bryce Young?
I think if you have, they have the draft capital to do it.
Yeah, they do.
And you may not. It's not the fact, okay, man, will we ever have a quarterback like Geno again that we can win with? It's when will you have enough draft capital heading into a season without any expectations to go get a quarterback like that as well. Like I said, I think the Vikings. But it's you have to tank to go get that. That's the problem with the draft stuff too, is just the fact that you have to lose to get these types of quarterbacks. This is why. And again, by the way, you like this. I think the Steelers are one of the teams that just missed the playoffs this year. If my draft suggestion ever came to light, teams like the Steelers would be getting the number 1 draft pick this year. I think we should reward the teams that tried. Kev, coming into this year, the Steelers should have tried to tank. They should not have. They should not have given extensions to defensive play. They should have moved on. Say, hey, we just drafted a quarterback. Let's wait to see if we have a quarterback. Then we'll spend and put around him. No, they're trying. They're putting money into the defense. They're bringing in. They're trying to build with the weapons that they've drafted. They're doing it what's supposed to be the right way, but your team almost gets punished for it. You miss the playoffs. You get a middle of the pack, late round draft pick. 17. You're just. It's. You have to really just rely on naturally getting better from one season to the next, which fine. But I feel like you keep taking these great players and we're going to throw them to the Texans. We're going to throw them to the Bears again. We're going to throw them to the Jets. And it's just my goodness, can we just start rewarding teams who are winning instead of constantly rewarding the Texans? Stop rewarding the Bears. The Bears have been a horrible organization for years now, but they're being rewarded with another top draft pick, and the same thing with the Texans. My goodness, that's what drives me crazy. But I didn't mean to go on that tangent.
But on the flip side, you can look at organizations like the Cincinnati Bengals, who were bad for a couple years, and then boom, they get Joe, and then boom, they get T. Higgins, and then boom, they get Jamar Chase, and boom, they're in the Super Bowl. Or then you take the case of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were terrible after their run with the great defense from Telvin Smith and Jalen Ramsey and Fournette being the running game, and then they went in the tank. Now they got Trevor Lawrence, and now they're in the playoffs. And then you look at a team like the Detroit Lions. Not only did they miss the playoffs and they were trying not to miss the playoffs, they end up knocking out their rival in the Green Bay Packers when they were already knocked out themselves on Sunday Night Football, which made for great TV. They get the 18th pick, but they get the number 6 pick because of the Matthew Stafford trade, because the Rams stunk it up this year. So they are in the catbird seat. If you're a team out there, and we have some Lions fans that listen to the show. Actually, we got some Lions fans in the building that work with us. I know they're super happy, because they get the best of both worlds. You get that feeling like, oh, man, we're on the rise, and we've got these great first-round draft picks that are going to come in and be immediately impact players for him. Detroit, they might be here to stay, at least for a couple years, by kneecaps.
But keep in mind, though, that's another team that could be bit by we're winning. I guess we can move forward with Goff, as opposed to saying, man, what if we just get a Stroud and let him with Williams, all these other young players, let's let them all just build together. But then that almost hurts you, because the Bengals are going to find out quickly. They drafted like crazy. They can't afford to keep everyone. Right. But again, it's just a cyclical thing. The NFL's not broken. It's not like it's the worst thing in the world, but I do think you would see the middle of the pack teams go from very good to elite quicker. The teams that are already good continue being good because they're going to do what they do. And then the bad teams would be forced to sign free agents. Like the Texans wouldn't get rid of people. They would be trying to sign people to win and compete to finish. Bottom line is, though, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the likes of, we haven't got to yet, CJ Stroud and others. But when we come back, you would tease that FanDuel, they had ranked the quarterbacks remaining in the playoff, correct?
Mm-hmm. They ranked the quarterbacks remaining in the playoff, and they also have the 10 best free agent wide receivers for the 2023 season. So we were talking about Lamar Jackson to say, all right, who's out there that they can go make a splash and get in free agency? I want to run those names past you, see if any of those names will tickle your fancy that you will want to have be a number 1 wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. And obviously we want to go rank these quarterbacks that are playing in the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know where you guys are at listening to the show right now, but like my anxiety's up a little bit because this storm that we're hearing in the back, like there's no lightning or thunder. It's just this creepy wind. My phone's blowing up with people like, hey, I don't know, be careful where you're at. Like all my friends are just like talking about how crappy it is outside.
Yeah, my mom just texted me.
Yep. And you know what I'm going to do? That dumb thing where I'm going to go outside and look around, see what's going on out there. Stand by a window, right? Now, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll be right back. By the way, Damon Hahn, he said, Kev, it's a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
There you go. Thank you.
I don't know what that means, but I know the context of what you were talking about, so I guess, yeah. We'll be right back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 60. Tonight's going to be cloudy with showers, a low near 33. And tomorrow's going to be cloudy with snow and rain, a high near 36. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet? Doctors of Podiatric Medicine set broken bones, perform wound care, and remove bunions. Common health issues that they treat include ingrown or fungal nails, corns, warts, and skin problems like athlete's foot. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many foot problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? To find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Need an online notary? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. We can notarize your documents remotely at no charge to you. All you need is a smartphone or laptop. Visit courthouse2u.com for more info.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey, the kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6+.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Save up to 80% when you file with TaxSlayer. Start for free.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You used to associate crickets with silence. But since you bought a house in the suburbs, you know crickets hate silence. If any other creature realized rubbing its legs together made a piercing, high-pitched noise, they might think, maybe I won't do that. Constantly. All night long. Luckily, you can save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. Now that's something to make noise about. Just not constantly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about a Govix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
When you least expect it, life happens. You can count on McAfee's 24/7 service to be there when it does. Any season, anytime, McAfee.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10. It drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith.
College football playoffs. Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live on Facebook as well as 1410 Wing AM and online at wingam.com. John Slayden says it's pouring over here in Belmont. Wind just blew our trash bin like 3 houses down the street.
Good time.
Yep. Be careful out there. I know that, we were just doing the show and out of nowhere, we could just feel the pressure change outside. And then all of a sudden we could just hear like what sounded like a train just rolling up on the station. It went from sunny and beautiful out to my golf club's just getting poured upon outside in the back of my truck right now. I forgot to put those inside. I'm just trying to remember if I put anything inside the bag that can't afford to get wet right now. Oh, well, it's cleaning the clubs off.
There you go.
It's on
divot dirt on there.
Yeah, gotta be a little positive. A little wet out in the course today. It's gonna be even wetter now. But hey, it was awesome. Not many times. I don't think I've ever golfed in the middle of January before. So yeah. Steve Statler says, yep, it's definitely crazy outside right now.
Great.
Matt Fink says, would you think more of a lottery system like the NBA would be better? Talking about the draft a little bit ago. I know that's not the topic at hand today, but I don't really like the NBA system.
I despise the lottery.
I think it creates more. I don't know what that accomplishes. I don't think it's doing what they anticipated it doing when they put that lottery system in. I like the NFL. So it's not the end of the world. I just think, you're incentivizing losing, and that I think anytime there's a format in place that is telling teams, hey, congratulations, since you're the worst team, you get the best player in college. That's the problem I have. That's what led to that Brian Flores situation in Miami. Like, people got mad at Miami and how unprofessional it was, but I'm like, I get it. They made it unprofessional with the way they were going about it, of course. However, it's like the only reason that that's even being discussed is because these teams know internally, well, if we go 8 and 9 wins, we're going to get the 17th, 18th draft pick. We'll get all the great players will be picked over. Not that you can't get a great player in the middle of the first round, but the point is it's like you're incentivizing losing. I don't like that. So I don't like the NBA one either, but nonetheless.
I despise the NBA lottery. It's horrible. You have so many teams doing it. Everybody's doing it because there's one unicorn out there for whatever year. This year is Wembanyama, the guy that everybody wants to go out there and grab. So now you got obviously the Rockets tanking. The Jazz are supposed to be tanking. There's so many teams out there that's trying to tank to get him, but there's only one guy out there that anybody really is even wanting. But I guess it's totally different in the NFL because if you don't get that number 1 pick, you still have the number 2 pick, and that dude's going to be an impact player. The NBA, where it's a star-driven league, the NFL is a star-driven league as well, but the role players play such a significant role. Like it or not, an offensive lineman is considered a role player, but we all know if you don't have a good offensive line, 9 times out of 10, you don't have a good football team. So just because you don't get a star quarterback doesn't necessarily mean that you don't get a good player. But in the NBA, if you don't get that it guy, it's a waste of time because there's a whole bunch of role players out there you can go get. So Andrew Filipponi, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He does sports radio over in Pittsburgh for the Fan over in Pittsburgh. He tweeted out a little bit ago. So like a lot
Pittsburgh fans are going crazy right now announcing bringing Matt Canada back.
Right.
That has discouraged a lot of people as far as that's concerned. But now what they are doing is they have shifted their focus towards, okay, well, can't change who the OC is now. So now the only thing that Pittsburgh could do to get better is to continue adding weapons and feeding off of what you were talking about earlier. Andrew Filippone, sports afternoon show host over in for the Fan over in Pittsburgh, says that Kenny Pickett keeps going to bat for Jordan Addison and all the media availabilities and everything. He goes, I'm not totally against it. If Steelers sign O-line help in free agency, I would be open to it. And the only reason I read this tweet from a sports host over in Pittsburgh is because that kind of goes back to your point earlier with Lamar, where a lot of these wide receiver quarterback combinations there's a previous chemistry established between the two, whether it be playing together in former teams, whether it be the pros or in college. We're seeing that across the board. That's why Carr got Devontae Adams.
Yep.
That's why you see, obviously, Jalen Hurts and Waddle and some of these guys too. That's kind of pairing up. Justin Fields could potentially get a Jackson Smith and Jigba or someone along those lines. That'd be kind of interesting. But Kenny Pickett to get Jordan Addison, who, by the way, didn't have a loud year with USC, but that was a guy that was trending towards being a top draft pick the year before coming out of Pitt anyway. So this is going to be interesting to see if they go that route as well.
Very interesting. I would love to see what they're going to do. Obviously, I would want them to get offensive line help in the draft. And the reason I want to get offensive linemen in the draft is because when you pay a free agent offensive lineman, especially tackle, 9 times out of 10, he's on his way out. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to get what? Taylor Lewan? Like Taylor Lewan has been in that league for like 10 years already. So he's got 10 years of NFL miles on him, not to mention college miles on him. He's banged up. He's going to want a lot of money because he's a veteran. So you can go get a young top tier offensive lineman in the first round, rookie contract, play at a Pro Bowl level potentially, as opposed to getting a guy that already has an injury history and is you have to pay a lot of money. I would prefer going offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Now, with that being said, you were looking at how teams can improve at wide receiver. I still think as good a team as Cleveland is, but Pittsburgh knows. They're looking at the Bengals, and look at all the teams in the playoffs. Even a team that doesn't have a quarterback yet, and Purdy might be that guy. Okay, but look at the teams in the playoffs right now. Every single one of these teams have dynamic wide receivers, have dynamic playmakers. In fact, what makes the Bengals so great is the fact that, yes, they have an MVP caliber quarterback in Joe Burrow, but they have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, and they have weapons galore. The Bills with Stephon Diggs and the receivers that they've obviously, developed. The Niners, between, obviously Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, and everything else. Their tight end and Kittle. There's no shortage of weapons.
They're the only team in the league with a fullback, and everybody knows his name.
and even they use their wide receivers in running back ways too. It's just a full offensive system, but there's no shortage of weapons in the playoffs. The Eagles, you could talk about the growth of Jalen Hurts, but a lot of the growth of Jalen Hurts had to do with the fact that they went out and got an A.J. Brown and they got their receivers healthy. The Jaguars, hell, I forgot about Calvin Ridley. I know he's not making an impact this season, but keep in mind, this team's already better next year before even making one off-season move, because they're going to have Calvin Ridley as another top weapon for Trevor Lawrence next year. And then the Chiefs, look at all these teams up and down. Outside the Giants, every single one of these teams has dynamic playmakers, whether it be tight end, wide receiver, what have you. Pittsburgh sees that too. They have good, okay playmakers right now, but it comes to depth. That's why Cleveland needs to add. Amari Cooper's not enough. Browns fans say they don't need to go get Hopkins. You do need to get Hopkins. If you want to get to this stage of the playoffs, the divisional round, the AFC Championship, you need to go get a dynamic playmaker, because you're not getting past the wild card round if that's the case.
Yeah, so some of these are guys that's going to be available in free agency. Here's FanDuel's top 10 wide receiver free agents for this upcoming season. Noah Brown, former Buckeye, number 10. Paris Campbell, former Buckeye, number 9. Marvin Jones, he's still playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's in the playoffs still. He's at 8. A former Cleveland Brown, Jarvis Landry, he's available. He's at 7. Mecole Hardman, who's never healthy, he's available. He still is with the Kansas City Chiefs, taking money. Darius Slay had a very good game against Minnesota, but did drop that pass that would converted to first down and basically iced the game for them. He caught 46 balls for 724 yards this season. Not great, but he's solid. DJ Shark, who's never healthy, he hasn't been healthy since he played at LSU. He probably is going to be the odd man out up there in Detroit with Amon St. Brown, and obviously with drawing a blank on his name, from Ohio State, went to Bama.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right off the bat either. But
y'all know who we're talking about. So he might be the odd man out for the Detroit Lions. So he'll be available. Alan Lazard from Green Bay, Jacoby Myers, Mr. Throw a Lateral versus the Las Vegas Raiders. He's available at number 2, and the number 1 free agent wide receiver on the market, Juju.
No,
are any of those dudes?
No,
none of those dudes are number 1s for sure. Juju's a number 2. Slay's a number 2.
Jarvis is a solid 2.
Solid 2-3 slot guy, but like I'm not paying none of them dudes.
Like those are good guys that you add to a roster that already has an elite number 1 to complement them.
Yeah.
Like Cleveland, I think that they're going to go after Hopkins. I think what they're ultimately going to end up with, I think Jarvis returns to Cleveland. I think there's a good chance that they can get Jarvis back in Cleveland. I think they want Hopkins. Goes back to what you talked about earlier, that relationship from the past, the success they had in Houston. But I think Cleveland knows, okay, we have a lot of financial commitments. We can't go overboard here, although it would mean going all in. I think they end up with the Jarvis. But there's not one receiver in that group. You can't say that there's a team in the NFL that is one of those guys away from being a Super Bowl contender. Right. I think that those can enhance Super Bowl teams. Those can enhance verge playoff teams to really, you add any of those guys to the Bears, that's better than what they had. But I don't think that, if Justin Fields just gets fill in the blank with one of those top 10 guys you just mentioned, that's not moving the needle as far as I'm concerned. They're going to have to add more. But nonetheless, by the way, those are solid dudes. Those are great additions but you have to already.
But you look at last year's class, you look at a guy that a lot of people banged on, myself included, Christian Kirk, who went from the Cardinals to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You add a competent wide receiver to them. And then they added Evan Ingram from the New York Giants.
By the way.
Jameson Williams, I'm sorry. And so you add those, but there isn't a guy out there, at least that I'm not aware of, that's going into a free agent situation that can force his way out of his team, like at Tyreek Hill, like a AJ Brown. There's none of those guys out there this year. So who are the Ravens going to say, like, all right, boom, here's your splash player? Who can the Cleveland Browns go get outside of a DeAndre Hopkins? Because that's the only play out there for any of these teams, in my opinion.
Yep.
I just don't know. I don't see it.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. But nonetheless, we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, we'll continue on this NFL conversation. Of course, give us a call, 518-1410, or on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Brian Schwederman and Slayton's came through, talked about Jameson Williams, just to kind of give us that.
Oh, wait.
And then
is he a former Buckeye?
Yeah. Tim and Tate Martell. One-man band Maxwell. He says it's a game of young speed wide receivers, spreads and 4 wide. And those guys complement those offenses, but none of those are opening up the field by any means. And that's why, by the way, that's why the market reset this past offseason at wide receiver. Tyreek Hill, $30 million a year.
Woo!
There was a point where the Browns fans were saying, man, is Baker even worth $30 million a year? And that's a quarterback. So when Tyreek Hill's getting $30 million a year as a wide receiver. Now, by the way, I don't think it's smart to pay a wide receiver $30 million. I don't. And luckily for the Dolphins, they don't have a quarterback to pay anytime soon, because it sounds like they're not marrying Tua. Who knows what's going to happen there? They're going to bring him back next year, possibly. But, man, lots of interesting stuff.
You don't think Tyreek Hill played up to that $30 million this year?
Oh, he did, but I think it.
You talking about long term?
Just long term.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I mean, if you want money, hop around from team to team that's willing to pay you that money. But like Jamar Chase and Burrow are going to get their top. Those two will reset the QB and wide receiver market again. The idea that Bengals fans have that one of those two is going to take less. I think there's a better chance Jamar takes less than Burrow. But then again, Jamar Chase's window is a lot smaller than Burrow's as far as getting that kind of money. So who knows? But I mean, the Bengals have two guys that are going to reset the market for what are already extremely high markets anyways for wide receiver and quarterback.
I would be blown away if any of those dudes take less than what they can get. Like, this ain't the NBA. This ain't where when LeBron and D-Wade and Bosh all linked up and said, all right, we'll each take $5 million less so we can get, more role players. This is the NFL, man. These careers are over like that.
Yep.
We look at the Tom Brady's, we look at the Drew Breeses, we look at them dudes playing forever, but they're playing a protected position. They're playing quarterback where if you touch them, it's a personal foul. It's the NFL where a wide receiver is going across the middle. We saw what happened with DeMar Hamlin. Like, these dudes should try to get as much money as humanly possible. And I'd be surprised if they don't. Maybe I sound like a hater, but I just don't see them being together, all three of them being together for an extended period of time.
Yeah,
Because somebody's gonna be like, hey man, it was great. I gotta go get paid. So hopefully for Cincinnati Bengals fans, y'all win the Super Bowl, so you have something to, hey, we got what we needed out of this player.
So here's the thing I've always found interesting about this. The thing that makes the most business sense, and Bengals fans won't like this, that's fine. Bengals fans will hate this. What makes the most business sense? T. Higgins is not a $30 million a year wide receiver. T. Higgins is going to be anywhere between that $17 to $20 million a year. What makes most business sense? Burrow gets every dime he has coming to him. You keep T. Higgins, and Jamar's the odd guy out. That sounds crazy, right? Because there's no way you move on from Jamar Chase. But that's not what's going to happen. They're going to give every dime to Jamar, give every dime to Burrow, T. Higgins the odd man out. But I think that's bad business. I think that hurts you cap space-wise long term. Now, they'll find it. They'll figure it out. They've drafted well.
Yeah.
There's nothing in recent history for me to doubt that front office has something figured out. So I'm not going to bash them for that. But to me, what makes most business sense, you take care of T, give him every dime he has coming to him, because his ceiling is, as far as money goes, is not anywhere close to Jamar's. And you can win with T being your number one. You can still be effective. And Burrow, you have, he's making his money and everything. But Jamar, if he does go that route, if I want that Tyreek Hill money, he deserves that Tyreek Hill money. He will get it. I just don't know if it'll come in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati keeps T's gone. I think they keep chasing Burrow, but I think that's bad business. I think it's bad business because, by the way, if Miami had a Deshaun Watson level paid quarterback, they're not trading for Tyreek Hill. They're not doing
no money.
And so that's the thing, though. Cincinnati, they're in position to pay Burrow now. Jamar will be due for an extension coming up here in the near future. They got decisions to make. What makes most sense, T. Higgins and Joe Burrow.
How much you think T gonna get?
I'd say close to that 20 range, which is still a lot, but I mean, that's what he deserves.
He'll probably.
Do you think it's higher?
Yeah, I think it'll be like 24.
And Burrow, what do you think about Chase, though? Because both are going to reset that market, QB wide receiver market.
If Jamar will probably get around 32, 33. Not from the Cincinnati. It may be from the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe from somebody else, but that's what he's going to demand on the open market.
Yeah. And that's so. And then again, this wishful thinking, Matt, we've been through this before with you, but maybe Burrow takes less on his contract.
He might shock the world. He might shock me. But if he was my client, and obviously he's not, you're not taking less than what you're supposed to get.
Matt said maybe the understanding is you take less now. Matt said take less now, but not on the next contract. But again,
that's
a risk. It's all
you
gamble.
Don't know if there's going to be a next contract.
Yeah.
This is the NFL. NBA, you can kind of foresee that type of stuff happening, especially when you're a star player. Like, we all know LeBron was going to keep on signing contract after contract. Like, man, these dudes don't last that long. I just don't see it. And that's not a hater. It's just the reality of sports. It's the reality of salary cap sports. Like, they have a cap on how much they can play. Now, we had this conversation a couple weeks ago, or maybe going into the season, where, my mind frame was like, hey, pay T, pay Jamar, pay Joe. And, hey, sorry, we don't have an offensive line. Sorry, we don't have a defense. We got y'all three.
And go to war with them.
Yeah, like, you could do that. You could have a whole bunch of bum, scrub, has-beens out there on defense and rookies, and just, hey, sorry. And the fan base is like, why are we giving up 40 points a game? Hey, but we're scoring 42 a game. That's a thought.
Yeah, again, Tyreek Hill, $30 million a year. Devontae Adams, 28. DeAndre Hopkins, 27. Cooper Kupp at 26, and that's after his recent extension as well. Now, I mean, to be fair, I'm saying Jamar Chase, 30, 32, 33, but Cooper Kupp, the best receiver in football, at least that's what we felt like a year ago. I mean, he took 26. He took less. I mean, he could have got more. He took a little less. So maybe
was that an extension, or he wasn't really hitting the open market, was he?
That I don't remember. I can't answer that. He's also 30 years old too. So that's probably where, 30 years old, 26 mils in a big investment for a 30-year-old. Jamar Chase still super young. So that's why he's like, no, I want it now. I want it now. But total guaranteed of that. I mean, my goodness, 75 million of that is guaranteed of that $80 million contract for Cooper Kupp. Ooh. So that, and that's the thing. The Bengals went from a team that won't do any guaranteed contracts to now all these key players at key positions are going to demand guaranteed money, not full guaranteed money. But let's be clear. Y'all got to stop acting like, oh, well, he won't get fully guaranteed money. But let's be clear. Cooper Kupp got an $80 million contract. $75 million of it's guaranteed. That's not a fully guaranteed that's a fully guaranteed I mean, oh man, you missed out on 5 of your 80 million.
Because if they cut him, guess what? He's gonna go somewhere else and pick it up on the back end.
So that's kind of like what I'm thinking. Like, so Jamar Chase may not get fully guaranteed. So let's say he gets an $80 million and only gets 60 guaranteed, which that's not going to happen either. But the Bengals, like I said, this is that window. Joe Burrow had the nerve to say, "Oh, the window's there every year." There, I know what you're saying, because as long as you have that, you always feel you have a chance. But realistically, the business window is closing right now. You can reset it based on future drafts and stuff, but you have a lot of key players due up for money. But I can't see Burrow getting paid 50+ mil and then 30+ mil to Chase and then having money for T. And then unless they do what you said with no offensive line, but my goodness, why would you risk that? That's crazy to me.
Everybody's not wired like a Tom Brady. It's just the reality. Everybody's not wired like a Tim Duncan, where they're willing to take low contracts so the team can sign other guys so they can win championship. That's why there's only one Tom Brady and only one Tim Duncan. 9 times out of 10, dudes want they bag. Look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant got a huge contract from the Los Angeles Lakers after he was over the hill.
Yep.
And ultimately, the team suffered for that because, hey, man, we're not able to sign other guys. And now you're over the hill, and being part over the hill is you constantly injured. But Kobe Bryant, even the great Kobe Bryant, was like, well, I did too much for y'all in the past. I'm cashing out. And at some point, these athletes do want to cash out. So, and even look at Tom Brady. When he went to Tampa, he got a nice contract down there too. He wasn't playing for nickels and dimes. He played for nickels and dimes with New England, but he didn't do that for Tampa Bay. So maybe Joe will break the mold and be like, hey, go team, go. Give me $5 a quarter so we can have a whole bunch of weapons around we can win Super Bowls. But I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, Jody Van Winkle on Facebook says the defense for the Bengals is going to be the collateral damage with Jamar and Joe. That I agree with. That's where the Bengals have to continue to draft well. And they've drafted well with pass rushers with Osai. They complemented it, of course, with the signing of Hendrickson, which at the time people questioned, but they definitely nailed it with that one. But the defense for the Bengals is going to be the collateral damage with Jamar and Joe. Jody Van Winkle messages into the show. I agree. Yeah. But so Jody, are you saying, but T will as well? T's gone when it comes time to extending that. Like, they're not doing that, and they may lead to a trade at some point if that's the case, maybe to bulk up that defensive side of the ball. Who knows? But it will be interesting to see what direction that goes.
You trade T. Is T worth a first-round draft pick trade?
I would say, considering the market right now, you just read off those top 10 free agent wide receivers coming up. T is a million times better than every single one of those dudes in that. Yes, I absolutely. Again, there's a lot of business decisions, cutthroat business. Do the Bengals have cutthroat business in them? I don't know. And that's not a shot at that. I don't think a lot of teams have the guts to do this. But again, if you talk about good business, T. Higgins and Burrow is who you keep, and you move on from Jamar. That's good business. I mean, the Chiefs had to make that decision with Tyreek Hill. They had to make that decision with Tyreek Hill. Okay. And they made that decision. Can the Bengals make that decision? That's going to be the big thing. And I'm not saying Tyreek is bad and Chase definitely isn't bad, but it's like the way the money is spent, it just doesn't make sense to do that, but they will. The other thing too, people keep saying that the Joe Burrow might take less money. You want to know why that's also not likely, Kev? The NFL Players Association. They are fighting for every nickel and dime to come to the players. You know what does not align with the NFL Players Association? And Burrow can do whatever he wants. Don't get me wrong.
Taking
but
low money, yeah.
But that won't sit well with players either. Like, it just won't. I know fans, they want to live in that world where, our quarterback loves us so much that he's going to do this for us. But there's also that unwritten little rule amongst the players. It's the players versus owners at all time. Joe Burrow would be doing a huge disservice to players in the league across the board if he did that. It really would. I mean, that's why I also don't think that's going to be the case. Now, if you want to put me in a corner and say, well, why did Tom Brady do it and get away with it? I don't have a counter to that. I don't know. He's Tom Brady.
Well, he didn't get away with it. People weren't happy. People weren't happy. But to your point about T. Higgins and Jamar Chase being traded, Tyreek Hill was traded for 5 draft picks, a first rounder, a second rounder, 2 fourth rounders, and a 6th rounder. Like, that's the haul that they would get if they trade Jamar Chase. I'm not sure about the haul that they would get for T. Higgins, probably like maybe a first and a third, because I really do like T. Higgins. He's a long-rangey guy and everything like that. Obviously, Jamar is like big, explosive receiver, but they'll clean up in the draft if they trade Jamar Chase.
And T will get little of that, but similar. But you talk about the defense being collateral damage. You got to let a lot of your top high paid defensive players go.
I mean, we already know Jesse Bates not going to be there returning.
And give the Bengals, I said, do they have the guts to do big business decisions? Jesse Bates, a fan favorite, and he was a favorite in that locker room, and they stuck to their guns. They didn't let that pressure get to him. So, yeah, I think they do have it in them to make tough business decisions. We'll see if they can keep that going, though.
Well, I'm still with myself. I'm still with pay T, pay Joe, play Chase, and we go out there with the elementary school defense.
And just hope that you draft well. I mean, again,
that's what I would do.
The reason, as a Browns fan, I would not be comfortable doing that is because my team doesn't draft well, but the Bengals are drafting well. If they're feeling themselves and they're confident in their scouting department and everything and all that, okay, more power to them. But that means your hit rate on draft picks has to work.
Yeah, you got to be hitting at least 50%.
But, man, we're talking that's $140 million invested into 2 players.
Touchdown.
3 players, I'm sorry. Ooh. Let's see. So Brian is on Facebook. He goes, Brady taking less was smart and a good reason to why he's still playing and getting 7 rings. Brian, I get that, but that's wishful thinking. If that's the case, how many quarterbacks have come after Tom Brady that have done this? None. It's like, I'm not saying it can't be done, but at the same time, I think, but there's been a lot of fan bases that have done this game where, well, our guy will take less, and then they don't. And then you shouldn't hate Burrow if he doesn't take less, by the way, because he should get that. But
that's what I just said. Tom Brady, unique case. Tim Duncan, unique case. Name somebody else that's done that besides Tom Brady and Tim Duncan.
Now, Burrow has that makeup. He does have that weird little annoying, good boy, blah, blah, blah thing. Like maybe he does, but I don't know.
I'm not saying that he's going to try to get every single dollar that the Cincinnati Bengals have, but he's going to go get a nice check. He's going to get a nice check, and that's going to affect the salary cap. And ultimately, as a Cincinnati Bengals, you do want to sign him to a good contract. You want to show the rest of the league that, hey, we take care of our guys, because obviously the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be around until the NFL is no more. So when you're a free agent destination, you want to look at a team and say, like, okay, they take care of their guys. And the Cincinnati Bengals have always taken care of their former players. I mean, Chad Johnson's still beloved. Willie Anderson, all the guys are still beloved by the organization. So as the Cincinnati Bengals, you want to come to the table with a good offer when it's time to take care of these guys. So you don't want to come in there lowball. You don't want a situation that's going on in Baltimore right now with Lamar Jackson. You don't want that conversation. No. At all.
Nope. So someone just said, well, what about the Patrick Mahomes deals? They think that was a team-friendly deal. It wasn't, though.
At the time, it wasn't. Now it is.
Now it is. Because remember, there was a stretch where Aaron Rodgers was like the 8th or 9th highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and he was winning MVPs, and he was so great. But that's because when he got his major extension like 7 years ago or 6 years ago, he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL when that happened. And then actually, you want to know what is funny is he got paid the year after the Ravens won the Super Bowl.
Right.
And Joe Flacco, for a very short time, was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, as crazy as that was. Because I remember the headlines that during that stretch, Joe Flacco's happy, but he's not the happiest quarterback in the NFL after that deal for Flacco, because that just raised the roof for Aaron Rodgers' asking price. So at that, and by the way, I don't know if a team-friendly contract is $45 million. Like it's not. I mean, that's $5 more million to work with elsewhere, but it's not. It doesn't add a lot of depth. And if Joe Burrow's due $55 million and he takes $51 million, is that really a team-friendly deal? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? That's the other thing too, Kev. What's a team-friendly deal? What is? I don't know what is. Maybe that is
enough for y'all to go sign another player.
And by the way, when Patrick Mahomes wins his another MVP this year and potentially gets back to another Super Bowl and potentially wins another one, that $45 million, you don't think that he's going to be going back to the drawing board and saying, "Hey, I know I'm not due for an extension, but y'all we need to
talk.
We need to do something about this." I know y'all didn't sign Tyreek Hill, so that means you have some extra money to spend. Y'all need to take care of your boy. That's all.
Because Andy Reid did not win a Super Bowl before he started coaching Patrick Mahomes.
So interesting nonetheless. All right. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Jody Van Winkle says it's a back-end deal. Is it not? Well, by the way, yes. Can the Bengals do that? Yeah, there'll be back-end deals. But keep in mind, the Bengals' money with him is like the Browns. They gave Deshaun Watson that money. Deshaun Watson, everyone thought that they redid that contract. This is why I was so pissed during this, because they framed look, the Browns don't need help being labeled a bad organization. But this was not. The one thing they got accused of was complete BS. They did not arrange that contract for Deshaun Watson to avoid getting money taken from him in the fine portion of his suspension for the sexual assault allegations. The Cleveland Browns, they do this for every contract. Every contract, they get the majority of their money up front as a signing bonus so that the money that they get paid, they could do the minimum payment for them coming up the upcoming season. So that helps the cap. It gives them more money to spend. So yes, Joe Burrow money, when he does get that extension, he'll get a lot of that up front. So that means his $50 million won't count against the Bengals' money right off the bat, but they'll get about 2 years of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you could only do that, Kev. Here's the thing. The reason that the Browns did this and the reason that the Chiefs did that with Patrick Mahomes, you know what you can't do? You can't do the what's that 5th-year option? You can't do the 5th-year option. Every time you do the 5th-year option, you're not allowed to rearrange the contract after you do the 5th-year option.
Okay.
So like the Ravens doing that with Deshaun or with Lamar Jackson, when they do give him that money up front, if they go that route, they can't backload it. They have to. So that's one of the incentives to signing your quarterback early is you could front load it and give yourself a little more wiggle room with having that window. Once you do that, like Dak Prescott, the reason the Cowboys, like when they paid Dak, that money hit them right away. There was no, because they used the 2-year window for doing the 5th-year option.
Yeah, and I remember that because the season after he signed it, they reworked his deal that summer.
Yep. So the Bengals will be okay if they pay him right away. I mean, they'll be okay no matter what, but point is this went long, but I appreciate the interaction on there. Matt Sturgeon, last one, he goes, no way do the Bengals not sign Chase. He will be the odd man out. Positive side, the Bengals are pretty good at drafting wide receiver minus Ross, and you are right.
That's true.
So but that's a game, but you got to ask yourself that $7 to $8 million extra a year you're going to pay your wide receiver in Chase that you could have had to the side and have T. Higgins. You're going to miss that extra $7 to $8 million a year to pay a big defensive player or an offensive lineman or something else. Like Chase, I agree with you. I don't see how you don't pay Chase and how you don't keep Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow. But man, he's good, but is he good enough to the point to where you're keeping him at the expense of a key offensive lineman, a big pass rusher, a shutdown corner? Like I'm with you, Matt. Like if the Browns are in this situation, I would be like, there's no way you trade Jamar Chase. But when you really think about it, if you sign him to $33 million a year, you can keep T at 24 to 25. That means you have an extra $6 to $7 million a year for the duration of that contract. You have to ask, Jamar Chase is elite. He is great. He's fantastic. But is he so good to the point that you would keep him at the expense of a dominant pass rusher or somebody else? But that goes back to what we talked about, draft.
Yeah,
and they're drafting well. There's nothing the Bengals have done recently for me to say I don't have the faith in them to draft well. So we'll see what happens.
It reminds me of a situation that happened with my team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Antonio Brown and Mike Wallace were up for a contract at the same time. The Steelers organization sent both their agents the contract at the same time, and whoever signed it first got the bag. Antonio Brown's people signed it, sent it back. Mike Wallace people tried to renegotiate. Mike Wallace ultimately hit free agency. Mike Wallace ended up with, I want to say, the Dolphins. Then he went to Minnesota. Then he went to Philadelphia. Obviously, Antonio Brown went on to have a Hall of Fame career. This is business. This is business. It's all business. And we take it personal as fans when our guys don't remain with the team and stuff like that. It's all business. And it's not only business for the organization, it's business for the player as well.
Yep. And then let's see, last one here. And then again, and Jody brings up the expanding, the last point on this, the cap space thing. And again, they're going to be, they're going to be getting more money. The cap's going to increase in the coming years and all that stuff. But folks, you want to know why Joe Burrow's money is going to go even higher is because when Joe Burrow's agent's going to say, okay, well, right now the market says I should be getting around $50 million a year. But we also know that cap increase is coming.
Right.
So if there's more money to be had, there's more money to ask for. So this idea that they're going to ask for $50 million because that's what the market is right now, you act like, oh, he gets $50 million, but they're going to have an additional $20 million to the cap space. So now they have an extra 20. No, that means he might ask for $55 million. He might ask for $60 million. Doesn't mean he's going to get it. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but this idea that, just like we know it, agents know it. And if there's more money to be had, Joe Burrow has the leverage.
Oh, for sure.
So we'll see. Again, what's this team-friendly thing? There's just not enough examples of quarterbacks giving teams team-friendly deals.
It's not enough examples of any athlete giving teams the hometown discount.
Maybe it is Joey B, but I'll believe it when I see it. And until I see it, it's just wishful thinking amongst fans, and we all do it. So
absolutely. And you know what? We got every right in the world to be skeptical of somebody doing that because it rarely happens.
All right, folks. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Matt Sturgeon says, great discussion. I had a conversation with Bengals fans. It didn't result in name calling. I'm proud of myself today. Matt didn't have to threaten to call my boss this time on me like he has used to. Matt, I appreciate you. Matt and I are cool now. Van Winkle, he's the man. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens because like this is how the Bengals handle it, is how teams are going to handle it moving forward. That's why we were all, even Bengals fans, were hoping the Ravens would hurry up and get this deal done with Burrow. Actually, I don't know if that helps the Bengals, though.
You want to be first. You don't want to be second. Second one pays the most.
Look, bottom line is, though, I apologize, Bengals fans, because my team's out of the playoffs. I drug you guys into this off-season conversation. We should be talking about the Bengals-Bills, which I promise we're going to do a lot more of tomorrow. We'll be previewing this matchup. In fact, I'm going to have five key bets to line up for this Bengals-Bills matchup that I'm even excited. As a football fan, I'm excited about this Burrow versus Josh Allen matchup. Bengals-Bills, a shot to get to the AFC Championship on the line, of course. But that's, I promise you, I apologize for dragging in the offseason talk. Just because my team's in, Kev's team's in the offseason doesn't mean we need to be doing Bengals offseason talk. So my apologies. But we'll be right back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about a Orgovyx.
Orgovyx Relugolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact, Orgovyx is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovyx may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovyx can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovyx treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovyx may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovyx. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. And now save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed Queen, only $19.99, plus special financing, only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting. We are excited to announce we are open and here to help with your tax preparation needs. We offer multiple options, both convenient and safe. You can drop off your tax return, upload it to our secure website, or call for an appointment. We have 5 locations in the Miami Valley and 1 in Columbus to serve you. No matter the situation, we're confident we can do the job right. Visit lairdstax.com or call 937-325-6571. Laird's Tax and Accounting, here for you to ensure continued confidence in your tax return.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
As part of its goal to make homes and hometowns better for all, Lowe's has committed $100 million to make a positive impact in local communities through its Lowe's Hometowns program. Each year through 2026,